carry on. No, hold on. Yeah, here. All right. And this. No, that's the page. Anyway, this is a meeting of the HDC. This is a meeting of the HDC on August 8th, 4 o'clock. With we are also joined by Zoom, and we are going to proceed in a very short put together thing that we this is the meeting by Zoom that's said to do it by the government, and we if you're going to tape any of this, please to let us know so that we can do that. If you get up to speak, please give your name and the item that you're speaking on. And that is a very abbreviated meeting at beginning. So we have 5 members here right now. Connie, we can all, we have to do it one by one because Carrie's on Zoom. Carrie, are you here?
I am here.
All right, Connie?
Here.
Joe?
Here.
Val?
Here.
And me, I'm here too. So let's begin with what I need is with anybody to give me a motion to, are there any changes in the agenda?
Madam Chair, per the applicant, under new business of 8.8, the request to hold items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until next week.
Okay. 1, 2. Wait a second, let me just get to the right page now. That's all Linda's stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that, taking that out of the agenda, will we, can I get a motion to approve what's left of the agenda?
Well, I have a modification. Can I do it now? I'm gonna hold 121 Washington because Mr. Kershaw would like to come in person and he was unable to come tonight, so
All right,
if that's okay,
it's fine.
I'll make a motion to hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9
And 9, yes,
and approve the rest of the agenda.
thank you.
So moved.
Carrie,
Yep.
Yep, so moved.
Connie,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
me, aye. So, all right, then we will go to, the first one is 143 Orange Street. And that,
Dennis, you're up. Is that you? No, no, you're after that.
who,
Okay.
do we have anybody for 143?
We do signs?
Or shall we hold it?
Oh, we gotta do
Signs and
consent.
consents?
Signs and
Yeah,
consent.
yes, we do, sorry. Busy day. All right, let's see who's on consent. There's a lot. Who has to?
I have to recuse.
I think
Okay.
I'm good.
Oh, no, I don't. Sorry, I'm in. Oh, right, signs.
Well, let's do we have anybody for signs that are here?
Madam Chair, I will.
Okay, do you want to do the signs first?
Items number 1 and 3 got approval per the sign committee's recommendations.
Okay, so that's number 1 to approve,
Correct. And number 3.
and number 2,
Motion,
With the sign council's recommendations.
okay, and number 3,
Approve with sign approval's recommendation as well.
All right, can I get a motion to approve all three, 1, 2, and 3?
No, Madam
No,
Chair.
just 1 and 3 per the sign recommendations.
Oh, I thought 7.
No,
Town of Nantucket. What was the thing on 2?
Held for a review.
Up for review. Okay, so I get a motion for 1 and 3 to approve 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Thank you. Joe,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
you,
aye.
and me, aye. And we are holding number 2 as per their recommendation.
Do we have to make a motion or no? Yes. Motion to hold number 2 per the. To have a sign review.
All right,
So moved.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Aye.
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 Carrie,
Aye.
all right, thank you. Now we will start with consent. And it doesn't look like any of you have to step off for consent all the way down. So, does somebody want to make a motion for 1 through 26?
So moved.
Very good. Connie,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
and me. So that's 1 through 26. Now consent with condition is that is Atlantic Smyrna, Atlantic.
Yeah, none of us have to sit
Take-
off.
So let's have another consent for with conditions.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Connie,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
Val,
Aye.
me, aye. All right, so that is fine. Here is the chairman.
There's the chair.
We've gone through consent and consent with conditions and signs,
Okay.
and all of Linda's is on hold.
All Linda's stuff is
Thanks.
1 through 5 is on hold. She has other. No, she doesn't.
So, do we have Abby on Zoom, by the way?
Not yet.
Not
Okay,
yet.
she said she was gonna
Carrie.
come on. Sorry, I'm late.
It's
I
okay.
just spent 45 minutes trying to reschedule my doctor's appointment from October 30th
Oh.
to September 21st.
You'll be good by then.
No, that's of 2025. So let's see, you guys covered consents?
Yeah, we've done consent and
great.
consent with conditions.
Consent-
And 1 through
Oh,
5 on new business and 9.
Is for hold.
All right,
for hold.
so can I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Let's see, so where are we now?
Number 6, new business.
Number 6, thank you. Hi, everybody. Okay, so do we have somebody to, this would be Mark Poor, if he's around. Mark Poor, are you around? Or, no? No Mark Poor.
Or any of the Judsons, no? No.
Oh, goodness.
Motion to hold number 6 for representation.
Very good. Let's see, we are all live, right? Yeah.
Carries.
Harry's
Oh,
on,
Carrie.
Harry's
Well,
on
she
Zoom.
can,
Okay, well,
But-
Carrie,
You can just not use me until you absolutely need me.
yeah, I think
do
that
the
that
roll
would
call.
be the most expeditious way to handle this. So now I can just do a voice vote.
Yeah,
Okay,
do that until
So-
you absolutely need me. I'm just standing by.
great. Carrie, thank you so much. All right, so the motion was to hold number 6, that's 143 Orange Street for representation. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? There we go. Okay, anybody here for Nantucket boat based?
Dennis is here.
All right, very good. Finally,
So I have with me, Paul, who's the architect from Main Street Architects as well.
okay, fantastic, thank you.
And we kind of like to frame it around, there's 2 filings for this. One's a move on, one's a move off. We
Okay,
can kind of look at it, together as we're proceeding forward.
yes. Yeah, I think that would be a very good idea, because I think I looked at this and the move off was
Right.
more
Right there.
on I'm looking for the right word.
Of a discussion.
Yeah, more controversial. And now okay, so why don't you folks ready to begin your presentation? Do we have?
Stuff up on the board
Yep.
there.
Yep,
Yes,
you will.
we do. Okay.
So for the move off, basically what's kind of presented to us as we were doing the bulkhead work throughout Commercial Wharf. We have to repair the bulkhead in front of this building as well, and also properly, the building needs to be moved off in order to repair the footings that's holding the structure up. And then it does need extensive work as well. And during that period, the land bank next door presented to either move off or demo what's known as the Rolland House, which is at 15 Commercial. So what we're here to present is to move this building off and replace it with the structure located at 15.
Is that
Commercial.
Roland spelled ROWLAND?
It is, it is.
Interestingly, okay, yes. All right.
So
And
really it's sliding
Correct.
adjacent to the adjacent lot.
Yeah, so basically, currently you have what's 15 Commercial, and then you have Petro Landing. And then you have the Meridian Cottage. So the Meridian Cottage, we're looking to do a move off or demo. Hopefully it'll be a move off. Somebody else would hopefully take it. And then replace that cottage with the structure that's currently sitting 2 lots away at 15 Commercial.
okay. So there's a reason why we're going with this first. Have you completed your narrative so far?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Okay, good. And we may have some questions for you, Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, for the record, this is the Meridian Cottage. It was built during the late 1960s by Sherburne Associates, which was owned by the Walter Beinecke Jr. He actually started the redevelopment of our wharf in 1963, and this building was built part of the wharf cottages, with 40 in existence at one particular point. I do think it's important to note that Walter Beinecke himself has many, many attributes towards our local and national historic district. And with our NHL update, it was included that in 1962, Beinecke's strong wish to preserve the unique characteristics of Nantucket and to reconcile them with the demands of the modern world that would avoid the free-form honky-tonk development that deplored on
We have
Cape
to-
Cod.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh,
As a result of this collaboration, a plan was developed to extend Strait Wharf, build a boat basin, and create several new streets that would improve access to the waterfront. Within the area, all structures built after 1890 were removed and replaced with 1- and 2-story wood frame buildings clad with Nantucket's characteristic weathered shingles. The goal was not to recreate the historic waterfront, but rather to provide for the modern needs of the community to a scale and an architectural idiom that reflected the island's characteristics. Beinecke's leadership role in historic preservation and his success on Nantucket, both in the philanthropist and businessman, was recognized in 1988 when he was awarded the President's Historic Preservation Award presented to him by President Ronald Reagan. And in 1994, he received the Louise DuPont Crown Shield Award at the National Trust for Historic Preservation. In addition, the American Institute of Architects awarded the town of Nantucket a signal honor of an award for excellence in community architecture. The citation is recognition of the architectural plan for the restoration of a major section of waterfront and thus constitutes a commendation of the work accomplished by Sherburne Associates with the rebuilding of 3 wharves, which constituted this major development. So I bring all that up to say, while I appreciate retaining a building from being demolished, The building in question was built and designed by actually Mickey Rowland in 2009, and it's not contributing. The existing Meridian Cottage is an original to the revitalization movement of our working waterfront that was restored by Sherburne Associates with Mr. Beinecke at the helm. The contributing building can be lifted in compliance with Resilient Nantucket to an appropriate height with the appropriate wet flood proofing to as needed. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. I would highly recommend not demolishing or moving the structure. Putting this new proposed structure, again, saving it and moving it down the wharf would actually create a hodgepodge of the vernacular that was done back in the 60s. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I want to make sure they heard those last couple of words correctly. You said you're against demolition or moving it. Is that, I just want to make sure that's what you said, right?
It would be appropriate to retain this structure in this area versus demolishing. I think the
Gotcha.
replacement is not appropriate. So thank you.
Got it. Okay. Holly, thank you. Now, Mickey, you're up there, right?
I'm here, yes.
Yeah. So, are you able to speak on this as an unbiased?
That's, that's up to you guys, I suppose. We
I mean,
did
I
review this
guess
group.
you are speaking in an advisory capacity.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And also, I don't know whether we've been down this yet. I came in late, but you right at the moment or very soon, you will be expressing the views, not just of yourself, but of your group.
Correct. The Historic Structures Advisory Group.
Okay. So why don't we move forward with that? Okay.
Sure.
Thanks.
So it's, we did review this. We really didn't have any concerns. I understand what Holly is saying. I won't really comment regarding that, but our group had no concerns as long as the building was, it was as long as it was a move off rather than a demo.
Okay. So your board is okay with it moving off, just no demo.
Correct.
Gotcha. Very good. Thank you, Mickey.
Yep.
All right. Now it's to the people sitting at the table. Oh, actually, is there anyone else that wants to speak on this? Someone other than the board before I do turn it over to the board? No. Okay. So board members, would love to hear what you have to say about this.
All right,
You
I'll
ready,
go.
Val?
yeah.
All right. then.
I appreciate Holly's history, and especially the part about taking down turn of the century structures to put up these in the 70s or 60s. A move off would be ideal. I can't see where would it move to? Is there any other lots?
We've offered it up for somebody
Yeah,
in the hopes that somebody is going to look to take the structure. It does need quite a bit of work.
and
It has seen substantial floods over the years.
so as Holly said, it can lift in the building that's existing that we're talking about moving over here. The reason to move that is because it's in better shape or it has more space or.
It's a few parts. So yes, obviously it's in better shape. Second part is it does have more space. And in our views, looking at the wharf, it fits with that side of that of commercial wharf. If you look at all the structures on either side of it, it is fitting more in design with those buildings.
And then from our standpoint, from a code standpoint, once we renovate a structure like this, is substantial work that has to get done. So then we have to bring it up to today's code, and framing members from the 60s to 2009 would be much different. So a little easier to accommodate that, moving the structure with upgrades versus trying to renovate the existing structure.
Mr. Chair, may I respond to that?
You may.
Thank
I have
you.
a feeling I know what you're going to say.
That
Go ahead.
is because this structure is a contributing structure towards our local and national historic district. It's less than 1970. It's newer than 1975, or older, It does not have to meet the substantial compliance section of the building code. That's why we have resilient Nantucket design guidelines. Those are actually designed in part by the National Park Service as well as FEMA, creating these design guidelines for historic structures in historic districts specifically for this. So that does not have to meet that substantial compliance. You would want to be providing some sort of wet, dry flood proofing mechanism while you elevate to a certain standard, but not whatever the AE zone that you're in. So I just wanted to be clear for the record. Thank you.
She's definitely correct on that point. We've done this a number of times. Thank you, Holly. Okay, Val, did you want to continue with your?
No, that was gonna be my question. Is it exempt as a result? You know, would you do a historic determination or it's just, yeah,
That's how you get it.
yeah.
Yeah, we have to issue that. Yeah.
It's tough because both buildings, I think, are nice on the water there, and it would be a shame to get rid of the one that's been up for grabs for so long, which is Mickey's building. Yeah. I don't have an opinion at the moment.
When you say both buildings, you mean the one that is slated for removal and the one that is slated to move into its
The one
spot?
that could be moved over here has been available for quite some time and nobody's taken it, and there's gotta be a reason for that. Maybe it can't move like on a street. So,
Can you speak to that? That's a
Yeah,
very interesting
That's
point.
precisely it.
Okay,
That one would be slated for demo. If we don't have the opportunity to.
Which
move it
is a
over.
shame.
Mickey's building.
Meridian.
With
No.
the
Nick-
For
configuration of the
for the
three
reasons
lots.
that Val said, in other words, it can't really move off of. Understood.
Your roadways are way too narrow in that area.
I gotcha.
So utilizing the lot in between would allow us to be able to properly do it and have the laydown area needed.
All right.
I have one more question.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot to grasp here. I'm
Um,
happy you're asking
Could
these
you keep
questions.
both?
In that area, no, there's not enough land right there. So that you'll see this, the footprint, believe it or not, of 15 commercial Llewellyn House is actually inches smaller than what's existing there today.
Smaller?
Smaller footprint, not square footage, but
No,
footprint.
wow.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I know,
Well,
we're-
Joe, 1 second.
sure.
I'm
Have
done.
you, all right,
Yeah.
okay, Joe, go ahead.
Well, this is, I guess, a technical question or procedural question, because we're talking about both properties at the same time.
Yeah,
And
we have
it's
to.
just easier for the applicant, I guess. So 15, the Roland Building
Mhm.
has been approved to be demolished,
No, move off or down.
Move on.
move off or demo. Okay,
Well,
so that's
okay,
not,
but let's be clear on that. It wasn't issued a move off only. It sounds like it was issued as a move off / demo.
Slash demo,
So
right.
they're within their rights to demolish that building.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. So
And that's the structure there.
was my question
Right.
was Val's question too, why can they flip flop? Why is the whole thing transpiring? I guess it's not really our jurisdiction, but
Land bank is driving.
okay.
yeah.
So that's already approved to be moved or demoed.
But use that as housing.
You know, it's a nice building.
Yeah, they're
Do you know what the footprint is of that square footage wise?
of the Roland, the 15
Yeah.
commercial.
I don't know.
It's on the next application.
Right, but the drawings are in this application too. It looks like the floor plans. Okay.
I have
Was
one
that-
more.
Was that actually approved for a demo? Because I don't remember that coming up.
I'm not sure, Mickey, I do know that it was filed as demo or move off.
Bended? Well, that would be logical. Yeah.
I have another thought.
Yes, please.
They used to move houses with boats or barges. Can somebody move something that way?
Yeah.
Now, are you speaking of either one or of 15 specifically?
I think I'm starting to draw a little bit of an issue with all these properties on the water getting the buildings ripped down to be open space, sorry.
I definitely like the scale of this the existing building, the other one, the name of it, I forget the name of that coverage.
The one-story one.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful to see more of the waterfront in terms of pictures, because it looks like the one next door to it is tall, because if the Roland building were to move to this location, you're really changing the scale of this area quite a bit. And that's a visible corner.
The record, passing Sherwood Associates, when I highlighted where Meridian is.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I'm pretty
Is
sure.
this new build? Is this
Mr. Chair, I'm pretty sure that all those buildings there
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
from the time that Beinecke did all of that. So that second, the one that's kind of two-story next door is original from that era.
Right. So we're talking pre-1975, but
Yes.
nothing more specific than
And the
that.
little Marion is already there.
It's only 1970s.
I have a
Yeah.
question. Where's
It's not that, it's sort of what goes along with.
Rome Building is located
Right
at
here.
15 Commercial. If you're looking at the water, standing at Petro Landing, it's to the right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Sliding up the streets.
So the one building would be much more difficult to move off than you're saying than the Meridian building. Could that be
Absolutely.
moved off much easier
Yes.
because of
Size,
Height.
height,
Excuse
so
me.
on and so forth. And the configuration of it.
That's the Meridian.
Okay. Diane, we haven't heard from you yet.
Well, I don't know. How tall is the building? Nikki's building is the one they want to demolish and take off, right?
No. They want to move that one. That's 15. They want to move that. This is a two-story building.
Yeah,
They want to move that onto the,
this place.
yes.
Yeah, okay, well,
Although if the rumors are true, Mickey's building was approved for a demo / move off. So theoretically, it could be demolished. And apparently it's, according to Val, it's been available for a while and there's been no takers because it's difficult or impossible to get out of there. So it could be moved to this site, obviously, because they're here requesting for our approval for them to do that.
what's going on 19?
Nothing.
It's gonna be just open land?
Yes. 19,
15.
15.
yeah, so 19 technically is open land today,
And then 15.
and then 15 is where this, the structure
Right.
sitting on the screen is.
and that'll be open.
And that would be, so once this building moves, it allows the, the waterfront to open up in that area. And then the structures would in a sense start at,
And what's gonna
the
happen
wharf.
to Little Meridian?
ideally, it would be moved off, hopefully somebody, is inclined to take it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I think it's sad. I think the buildings that are there were done with great care when they were built and put on the dock there. They fit in, they work with the dockage and everything else. So I think to whip out just to have open space is not well planned and moved here and there. So I just assume they stay there. I can't believe that Mickey's building is in such bad shape. If it indeed, I think it was done in the late 75 or even almost 80. Because I remember discussing it and I wasn't on this board in 75. 70s. So I think it fits in. It was done to fit in, so I'm not terribly enthusiastic about taking it down or moving it.
May I speak, Mr. Chair?
Yeah,
So you mentioned Mickey's building in such bad shape to be torn down. That's actually the one we're looking to save.
Good.
yeah, we kind of need to be clear. So the two-story building is not in bad shape,
That's correct.
which is why you want to move it to where you want to move it.
It's still a solid frame. The structure itself is very tight. If you look back at the picture of the meridian, you'll see the sags in the roof. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
If you look across the ridge line there, it needs. It will need some extensive.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
do
You
too.
guys. The questions just keep coming on this one. So when I look at this, what I see that I'm talking about Mickey's building, the two-story. It does not appear that the first floor level conforms to the current FEMA.
That was gonna be. my
Regs.
question.
That's correct.
Beat you to it. So, are you really just moving it, or are you planning to move it and hike it up?
So either structure, once we touch either one of the structures, we will have to go +1, I believe was our.
Right now, they're
No.
trying to change it to +2 and +3. It hasn't gone through yet.
Okay. So I'm gonna let Holly address this one, because this is a question that comes up quite frequently, maybe at least once a meeting. Holly.
So, for
Excuse me.
clarity's sake, this structure that was built in 2009, if moved, it's gonna have to conform to FEMA because it's a non-contributing building in the historic district, has no exemptions. Meridian is a contributing structure and it does not have to comply with the full FEMA standards again. So it does not have to meet the substantial compliance you keep on saying.
Yeah.
This structure would, in a sense, would even create more of a
Yeah.
higher issue. And again, why we spent so much time and effort making sure our design guidelines for flooding and adaptation and elevation are not so egregious like it would be, say, in Charleston, South Carolina. Having structures elevated in a hodgepodge willy-nilly, that's why we're wanting to have them cohesive. Once you bring in a non-contributing structure, it's gonna have to comply, it's gonna look really weird. So again, my recommendation would be looking at Meridian, what you can update it and not have to be so elevated. Again, that's why they are required to have, are allowed to have that exemption being a contributing structure. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Holly.
Ray, could I add a little bit to that conversation?
Yes, I would like you to, please.
My building was flood proofed up to about 2 feet above the floor level using waterproofing materials around the perimeter of the building and floodgates on the doors. So that's why it's lower than you would think it would be for, and it's a commercial building, so we are allowed to do that. Now, when you move it, I'm not sure if it meets, if residential buildings are allowed to use that floodproofing technique that commercial buildings have. So
That's a seriously good question.
it's a possibility that they may be able to leave it down low, considering the 2 feet of floodproofing. But that needs to be investigated.
If I may, so yes, on our plans, if you look at them in front of you too, I think it represents that it was just over 3 feet is what the elevation would be. And that's from the street. I think it was 3.6 or something from the road. So that's, about a foot, maybe not even above of where it is today. And to Mickey's point, it is still a commercial use.
It will remain a commercial use.
It's going to be part of the boat basin.
Got it. All right. And so the proposal, according to these drawings, is that the first floor, finished floor, will raise up a foot above what it is right now. Got
Give or
that?
take, that's what we believe it to be,
Okay.
as represented on the plans.
Okay.
I have a suggestion.
And
Yeah,
I think
please.
that also puts it in line with the structure next door. That one was, actually sits about the same height,
In line, meaning finished floor.
finished floor from the building next door.
Okay, thank you. Val,
Frequently when we do this, I think as part of our guideline request is to have structures on either side, in this case on one side. Drawn like a streetscape drawn in so that we have a idea of what this is gonna look like next to what's already there.
so Joe had sort of alluded to that
Yeah.
earlier. And
He's
I,
very smart. He's right.
yeah, I think it's a seriously good idea, given that I think there's a lot of apprehension about this application, given the difference in scale between this building and its neighbors. So I would suggest that maybe we need more information on this to evaluate it properly. For me, the so-called streetscape, I guess in this case, we would call it a waterscape, would be critical to our understanding of how this is going to fit into the context. Should we move these with that and anything else that commissioners feel like might be helpful information?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea before we decide to
Yeah,
whip them out of there.
yeah, definitely.
I have a question. When, let's just say this gets approved to move to that location, which facade faces
Also good.
down the street?
It would
Same
stick the
way.
same.
So driving up the street, we'd be looking at that gable end with the
Well,
4 windows in
no,
it?
so driving up the street, you'll actually be looking at the water. This is, if you look at where it is on the plan, if you don't mind, I can come up, or I think you have the GS map on the back. available.
Yeah, you did a site plan for this, for the move, right?
So, yes. So if you look, at this right here.
The next page down, I think. Or up.
No, actually.
Oh, it is changing a bit.
Yeah, so if you look further up to the right.
You know, coming down the street, you'd be looking at the porch. So right now, the way Mickey's house sits over here is the same thing, that that's the front and that's. the
Right,
porch.
so it's literally sliding laterally.
Slide
Okay,
Got it.
it's not rotating.
lateral. No rotation at all.
I was almost hoping it was rotating.
Unfortunately, within the plan, just given the way the building sits, the bay window that you see on the front of Mickey's house, that would actually have to be changed.
So-
Because
Sorry,
it does go into the, the poses, encroaches too much into to the road.
so the existing right side and proposed right side elevation faces down that street, and then the decks are bracketed and cantilevered off over the water
That's correct.
Correct.
or the bulkhead, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I think that side showing what it looks like next to the buildings also, it'd be good to see the front and the back.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because you're. The end you're seeing is this right side elevation, and the front of it, you're not seeing until you're walking down the commercial wharf, really.
Yeah, and if you look at, looking at that map that's up there on the screen, the back ends of all those homes to the right, that's actually the bulkhead. You're on the water right there. So that white that's shaded in white there from the GS, that's actually water.
Right.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
if the commission is so inclined to hold this for further information and with the streetscape, which I obviously highly recommend, I would also recommend an updated elevation certificate with format map for
Yep,
moving it to this location.
you know what that is?
No, but I wasn't aware of the 2 feet. I think it's like 7.5. So now I'm the 2 feet with it. I saw the vents. I wasn't aware of the construction without ripping the house apart. So that might allow us to play with that elevation a little. That's all.
So we need something from a surveyor
Yeah,
that
from our
says,
JLC.
okay.
Yep.
Work with them and review
Yeah,
our. check
and-
if I do one.
I think you actually have something that shows the elevations from Paul within your packets.
So should we make a motion to asking for more material. We don't want to ask for changes. We need more material pictures of a streetscape and all certificates needed
The
To-
flood elevation.
to
information.
I print the building.
Yeah, I think a comparative streetscape, because we're talking about two applications, one that's the potential demo of the Meridian Cottage,
Right.
which is small in scale, and then the other one, which is the Move, which is larger in scale, and seeing how that might change. I mean, one could be a photograph and the other one is an insertion of this.
Right.
And just for clarification for me, because I'll be doing that work, it's from the Meridian heading down the wharf, correct? That's what
Yeah.
you're looking for?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so that's my motion.
And that would be
From
on
the
both,
water.
both applications, right?
So street side and water.
Right, Diane?
Yes. Please.
So-
Okay, so Diane has made a motion for more information on both of these applications. Sorry, Val, did you have a question?
No,
comment?
just to clarify, the streetscape and then the back, the waterscape side. that
Yeah, the
they're-
waterscape, yes, both.
too.
Okay, so that is Diane's motion. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Right.
Any opposed? Okay, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next application is by,
it's on hold
why?
because Mr. Kershaw wanted to come himself and he wasn't here.
Oh.
We didn't
okay.
know it was gonna come up today, so
All right.
I went
Trying to
earlier in the
allow
office. and-
Carrie, who's, being so patient there to sit on some of this stuff. Okay, so now we're to 32 Union.
Now I get to sit on something.
Now you get to, yeah, you get to represent something at least.
But don't worry about me sitting on things, Ray, because it's much easier if you can just do the whatever.
Well,
Oh,
we have a Val Oliver and then Lisa's gonna be in a little bit later, so,
Okay.
the fact that you're there is helpful.
Good.
Okay. 32 Union, what did we decide on that? Oh, that, I'm too, sorry, what?
No, last week, this was in front of you for a Main Street yellow color change.
Yeah, right.
Right after I applied for that, the homeowner brought to me a fence thought. And so this is what this is for, is a fence. On the site plan right here, the yellow is existing white painted picket fence type 2. And in the background in red, surrounding the property on the inside of the existing perimeter hedge, he would like to add a 5-in-1 natural to weather fence on the north and the longest runs are the 5-in-1 natural to weather fence. The little bit that is parallel with the street and behind the existing white type 2, he'd like to do a 4-foot solid board because there is a 2-foot drop. So the 4-foot board and arbor would be aligned with the little back nub of the house
Mhm.
and turn into a 5-in-1 because the grade drops. So we want the fence to all be of one height.
Yes.
There are some photos. Oh, and there's an existing arbor on the other side driveway. So that's the existing fencing. Did I get a better photo? Oh, maybe the next one down. Yeah, there it is. So you see the little bump out with the little white doors
Mhm.
at the
Yes.
at the far corner of that is where he would like to have the 4-foot natural to weather fence and arbor.
Right.
An arbor would match an arbor that's already on the property on the other end of the property.
Photo of the existing.
Scroll. Yeah, if you keep scrolling,
Yep, got
you'll
it.
see. Oh, it's back there. There it is. So that next photo shows the existing arbor. That's on the left side driveway at his house. And we'd like to copy that.
Mhm.
That fence is a little bit more separated than a solid board, but we'd still like to do the same shape. There's some other board fences on Union Street that I just took photos of to show that they're not completely unusual. There's not a ton of them, but they do exist. There's a few more. And there's also other photos of arbors. So some of these fences don't have any greenery around it or in front of it. This guy has a hedge surrounding his property and he's going to do the fence on the inside of the hedge.
Mhm.
If it is approved.
Okay,
That's all I have to say.
Carrie, thank you. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, for the record, this is the William Coffin Two House circa 1786 gambrel, individually significant, built sometime after the American Revolution. Obviously, all gates and fences are as proposed or proposed within the OHD are appropriate. I was just a little confused as far as what was possibly existing or not. So I appreciate that, Carrie, because I wasn't too sure if something was already built. But I guess my main question is, with having the existing type 2 picket that's there, that painted white, and then having the 4-foot board natural to weather fence behind it is a little odd, shall we say? I'm just wondering to know if we have examples of that, especially in the OHD. If we've come across that in the past, if there's another way to mitigate that. And I was also just a little concerned on having multiple types of fences, understanding that there is a topo change. And then I would, want to see exactly what that is, maybe more of a detailed plan showing it. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Holly, thank you. Mickey, anything?
Yep, so a rounded top arbor may be a little out of character for this house, which was built in 1789. Perhaps a simpler squared top arbor would be more appropriate, or even no arbor at all. When we looked at this plan, we didn't really understand that the 4-foot board fence was going to go behind the existing type 2 picket. But now that I understand that, it's I kind of agree with Holly. It's a little odd to have the two aligned, one behind the other. And we also felt that the 4-foot board fence wasn't really appropriate facing Union Street, although it's kind of now hidden behind the other, so it's a little confusing. So that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Mickey.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. For
Yes.
Carrie.
Ma'am.
Carrie, the
Yeah.
board, the 4-foot board fence that would be facing the street, is it
Yeah.
behind the hedge that is presently there?
There is not a hedge presently there. That's in the background. But I did tell the homeowner that it might be required that he put a hedge in front of that section that's facing Union, because it's the only place that doesn't have a hedge. But it is like, I don't know, 16 feet away from the driveway lining fence, which is the white fence. I know there are a lot of layering of fences in town. It's the natural board 4-foot that I think might be where everyone's having the issue.
That seems to be it. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And also, Carrie, to that, because you have those doors on the little bump out, you can't really put a hedge there, or else you'd lose the utility of that.
That
back.
one last door, yes,
You wouldn't
indeed.
be able to open it.
Yeah, it would be a
That's
bit
kind
of
of
an
off
issue.
the table.
I suppose if we could push the fence back, we could get that in there, but
But let's see, push the fence back. Right now, it's
4
sitting on
feet,
top
so
of
the-
a wall, right?
nope, there's like, I don't know, 6 feet of the same elevation and then it drops down.
Oh,
So we do have a little space to play with. If we push the fence back, we could get the hedge in front of it and retain the door use.
That's sounding better.
What if,
Go, Joe. Yep.
and what if and this is, you're calling it a type 2, but this, not you're calling it, but we were referring to as a type 2 fence, but it actually has these posts and caps that
Yeah.
separate it. And usually it's a continuous top.
Right.
And which makes me think that because it's not a traditional type 2 fence, like, could you have a painted fence where you want to put it, which is at the far end of that bump out, and have it be in the same style as this type 2 fence? It's a little more transparent than a board fence, but and it'd be painted white. So basically the driveway is not terminated by a fence. You'd have a green space and then the fence in the location that you want it, but it would be a white painted picket in the same style. It could be 48 inches tall, I think, and then because you see a lot of these fences around town, to even type 2s that change in height as they wrap around a property.
Joe, if I were to paraphrase what you just said, you're basically saying, take the existing
fence.
length of white picket and move it to the other side of the little mini gambrel.
Yeah, and make it the 48 inches height
Right.
that she wants so that it ties in with the natural board fence. I have no issue with the natural board fence wrapping around. And my first thought when I heard your explanation was maybe it ought to be white. But then Holly mentioned the layering of the fences, and that made me think that perhaps you could extend this. I mean, you're creating a fenced in area.
Yeah, well, he's
Okay.
looking for privacy and this fence doesn't seem to do it for him, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but I
you-
get what you're saying, Joe, and I can offer it to him as a, potential solution.
Well, maybe it's a board fence. and I don't mean to be designing at the table, but if you took the picket sizes here and the spaces, and maybe it's a solid board fence, but it's made up of what you would narrower pieces so that the language of it is more in keeping with this type 2 fence, then you'd potentially get the privacy, but also have a design relationship to the type 2 fence. I don't have any issues with the arbor, but I actually think it should be white on this side of the street.
Okay. Who's next?
Well, I'll go if you want.
Sure.
I think that's a good idea, so that to put that fence in behind. I don't know why it has to go up to 4 feet anyway, why you can't just keep what's there. What you're trying to block off and paint it white and go and put the little gambrel poke out on this side of the fence. Seems sort of like a useless type of
Privacy.
thing there, privacy, because your privacy is around the corner. And that's what I would do. I wouldn't make it all complicated and 4 foot and 5 foot. All that stuff. I would just keep that beyond the gambrel and keep it painted white. And put what you want around in the back, natural to weather, which would be good. And that keeps it open and very simple to go with the house.
I just have one question. If my client is amenable to that, should we propose a white arbor? There
Yeah.
are plenty of white arbors on Union Street, so I'm just thinking in terms of now the arbor.
Mm-hmm. Diane said yes.
Yeah. And also again, maybe simple. There was a picture of an arbor somewhere, which was pretty
Right
good.
across the street, yeah.
Hardly noticed it. It wasn't all gewgawed up. It was just very simple. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that would be good.
Mm-hmm. That's in page 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, very simple. Is that it, Diane?
Yes.
Thank you. Who's next?
I can go.
Yeah, thanks, Connie.
Yeah, I would be in favor of a white arbor. And I do have a concern about the board fence behind the picket fence. I'd understand the need for privacy, but that's kind of the side yard. I think, they probably will have enough privacy in the backyard. So I really wouldn't be in favor of the layering unless maybe there was some kind of hedge.
Okay, Connie, thank you. Val, have you?
I don't really have anything to add.
Hmm,
I think page 17 could be a solution for right there. It's a hedge over an arbor that's simple.
well, I
Maybe
was,
add a gate and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah,
Then-
no one gate.
privacy fence can be behind the hedge.
Oh, yeah.
that's just where I was gonna go. So, yeah, you have your white arbor, you have your privet, which would, it's kind of deceptive, this first photograph. You don't really know where that privet is standing. It could be close or it could be far away, but if it was close, then you would not have the visual layering of the different types of fences. So I think that's one solution to getting privacy while still keeping that fence where it is, the white one. Those are my thoughts.
Okay,
You wanna,
I'll work on something and come back.
okay, that sounds good. So how about we move for some revisions on this one?
I so moved.
All right, Diane has made a motion for some revisions. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, now we're to 43 Kendrick Street. Do we have somebody to rep that? Okay, come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi.
So this is a second house on the property, and I'm here to talk about the landscaping. It's a 20 by 40 foot swimming pool on the property, surrounded by trees and a fence. My name is Robert Leaf.
Oh, thank.
I'm the owner.
We kind of gathered that, but thank you for saying that.
The picture, I didn't think did justice to what's going on. There's no house there yet.
There's no house. It's just an empty, flat piece of property right now.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
There's no foundation. There's nothing dug. We're just starting.
But you have an approval for the structures.
We have approval for the house, the one house, the house on the property here. We do not have approval. We've got close to approval. You've discussed it with our architect, Chip Webster, a couple of times, and he's going to be back the next meeting with very minor changes to what's already been approved. Taking a couple of windows out. I know you guys are sensitive to windows.
Yeah.
So
It's a 20 by 40 foot pool with a jacuzzi built into it
mhm.
and an automatic cover covering the whole thing.
So, Mr. Leaf, our application shows all kinds of landscaping. So it's the pool plus the landscaping. that
Correct.
actually-
There's a driveway.
So we're really reviewing everything. It's not
Please.
just about the pool.
Yes, sir.
So I was a little confused as to which one we were looking at. So
The one on the top of the picture, the one on the bottom is all done and completed. If you see the blank space between that curve, it's everything on the north side or the top that we're talking about, nothing on the bottom side.
On the bottom side is all
It's built, approved,
built, done.
C of O.
Gotcha.
It's the top that's just empty land right now.
Okay,
As you see in the picture, some of the shrubbery has been removed. The scrub oak has been taken down for part of it. We plan to leave the rest of the scrub oak in place.
Okay, I,
The concept is not to be able to really see through it from, there's a street on two sides, on the right side and on the top. And we're going to leave scrub oak as is, so that it will block most of the view of the house.
I think for me, I need more information, you know, like when we do a pool in hardscape, there's photos of what those materials are. Picture of the wire fence,
Okay,
and is it right on the property line?
no,
Okay.
so there's a 20-foot setback on the sides. And and then there's a 35-foot setback from the north side. And we're well back from the setback. The only part of this that's near the setback is the back of the pool area. And that's all woodland behind it.
So this is the plan that we're talking about, right? This one?
Yes.
yeah.
So where is the back of the pool? South?
I don't know whether I'm allowed here, but this side is closest. to the
That's the
property.
rear?
That's the rear of the pool. Or the side, it's long, one of the long side.
Yeah,
It's the side
it's
from-
essentially the side.
And it looks like there's some. Oh, no, that must be like a.
So I was going to put a wooden fence 6 foot high with trellis on top on that back side.
So I think one of the issues here, Mr. Leaf,
Yes, sir.
is that the images that we're looking at, when we try and blow them up, we can't read any of the text.
Okay,
So it certainly looks like you have a fence surrounding the pool.
Yes.
Which is probably a good thing. I see the little gate.
yes.
But to Val's point earlier, first of all, we should be able to have an image that we can blow up and be able to read on our computers.
Okay. Do you know if a PDF is blow upable? Maybe this is not a PDF.
You know, unfortunately, I'm like the worst possible IT person to
Okay,
be
me
talking to. If Stephen. would-
But I will make sure that it's blow upable. I understand.
Yeah, so because we need to actually see the details, see what the vegetation is. And also to Val's point, if you have, say, a board fence, we want to see a photograph of that. You know, what the gate looks like, what your vegetation is called out as being, whether it's evergreen or deciduous. Because you do have a paper road that runs along the entire side of this, well, actually all 4 sides. of
I
this
don't
piece of-
believe there's a paper road on the side.
Well, I'll
farthest
tell
from
you,
the
I'll
pool.
tell you why I say that.
Is that
I say that because I was looking at a document.
There's a real road on 2 sides. The north side and then Kendrick Street.
Okay, so the third, I'm looking at, we have 2 separate things that were submitted
Right.
for your application. One
The
is.
third side is the
so-called-
driveway of my neighbor.
Well, but here we are. You're surrounded, on the north side, you have Cumberland Avenue.
Correct.
On the east side, you have Kendrick Street. On the
Correct.
south side, you have Lancashire Avenue.
Right.
And on the west side, you have Cornwall Street, all of which are either real roads like Kendrick or paper roads. And
Cornwall is two lots over.
Cornwall is identified on this document as being like right next to your property. Oh, no.
It's
I'm
two,
so
it's two,
okay.
two lot properties over.
very sorry. For some reason, the map geo thing has you as 43, but what is your?
I am 43.
Well, then Cornwall runs on the west side of your property.
It does.
It-
Okay.
It does. It does. So that is just something that we take into consideration because it is a, theoretically a publicly traveled way. So we're gonna want to be screened from there because frankly, that's the closest street or way.
Right. And I
to
plan to
your
screen that
pool.
completely.
So do you understand what we're asking of you?
I'm going to ask you, if I may, a question.
Yeah,
What I would propose to do is to take each of the elements that are in this landscaping
yes.
and take a detailed photo of it and submit it as part of my next application.
Yes.
Correct.
Will
Like
that
you
help?
have
Will that be
Then we
helpful?
can read, 4 foot high board fence, and we can
yes.
get all the information.
Yeah,
Because right now, other than actually seeing the location of the pool and sort of some shrubbery around it and so forth, it's very hard to grasp
I understand exactly what you're asking for.
actually looking for and what we would ultimately be approving.
And if I may, Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
please, Val.
Did you saw the last application with the fence
Yes.
situation? If you could highlight, this is the 4 foot fences in yellow. The 6 foot fences in purple
Sure.
or whatever. It makes it clearer for us to understand how that all fits together. And is there any grade change?
No,
So like,
it's
retaining.
pretty level
Okay.
and we're going to retain it as level.
And then whatever this tile terrace is.
I will have a picture of it
Okay.
because I'm
purple.
using the same tile terrace that I used in the second house.
And to Joe's
Yeah.
point, the pergola.
Well, it says metal pergola somewhere.
Yeah.
I have one that I put in the first house. I'm just going to copy it. It's something that you buy. And it's quite nice,
Just take a picture of it for
but I'll
us.
get you a full picture of it.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, if that's appropriate, and again, I'm new with this, so I appreciate your telling me what you'd like. I'm going to take pictures of each of these different elements because most of them are duplicated in
Yeah.
the house. And then submit that and you'll have 6 or 7 or 8 different slides and you'll see where each element is. And I'll label it on the blown up drawing with numbers.
Yep.
Great.
And the fire pit if it's built in.
Yes,
That all sounds great. And then the high res on the plan so we can
Yes.
zoom in on it and
Got it.
read the text.
will do.
Okay,
Okay.
so I guess we're gonna hold this, folks, for some more
More
detailed
information.
information.
Yeah.
That is Val's motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There you go, Mr. Lee. Thank you for
I thank
joining
you
us.
and I apologize to you guys
No problem.
for the difficulty with our house. I know that there was difficulty and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so difficult.
Don't worry about it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for your understanding.
Okay, so
good day.
we have
Thank you.
Val Oliver is up next.
Yeah.
Carrie, are you with us?
I am.
You're gonna send out the bat signal.
And I think Jane Conway Casp is on. That's the homeowner.
Okay, fine.
So we came before you in 2021 to move off or demo this structure, which is 11 Western. You have since approved a new structure to replace it.
Hmm.
We had a whole move on, move off to Hooper Farm Road. That fell through. Several people in the interim have come and said, we're interested, and they come over and they look at it. So it's been 2 years of trying to find someone to take it. No one's taken it. So we'd like to now demo it. Is the short story.
Gotcha.
I gave you the paperwork for the old approval to move off. And the surveys and everything that go along with it. And Jane, did you want to say anything if you're out there?
Oh, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah.
we can. Thanks.
Hi. Yes, we have tried, oh my gosh, I have tried everything to try and get this to be the right fit for a move off, and it just, I mean, the Cisco Brewery was looking at it and the owners of town and Kitty Murtaug's, and either it was too wide, too long. Recently, we just had the owners of town and Kitty's they really want it, and they do have the piece of land, but it just doesn't work out in the timing because of the schedule for the house moves and when they don't know if their land is actually secure. They're purchasing it now. So yeah, it's just been, we just haven't had any luck. So now we're asking for the demo, unfortunately.
Okay. So now that we're going from move off to demo, it's probably good to remind us, given how long ago it was reviewed, that what is the vintage of this building?
1950s.
1950s. You know, it's interesting.
Yes,
It almost
1950, exactly.
prefab house.
Yeah.
What's that?
It looks like a prefab cape to me.
Oh,
Post-war traditional, 1950. There's an HDC survey on file.
1950.
and I think I put that in, didn't I?
Mhm.
The survey.
Yeah.
So it's not for lack of trying to move this?
No.
I know.
Hey,
How many
Looked at
square feet is
paper
that
so
now?
many times and yeah.
jeez, hold on. I don't know. I gotta look at the old. I can't read it.
So it's not,
Did you read?
I mean, your answer isn't contingent upon my opinion.
Um,
I'm just curious.
yeah, it
I
doesn't
think it's
say.
about 900.
Ask you,
Oh,
I'll tell you,
952.
Yeah.
it says here.
Oh, I'm sorry,
And I
12.
remember this, that it was supposed to go to 17 Hooper Farm Road.
Yes.
And that's what must have fallen through, and it's circa 1950 Cape post-war traditional architecture. Listed as contributing by the National Historic Landmarks. And no concern with moving it. That was
It's
the motion
952.
made by Abby Camp.
There you go. Now, Abby just coincidentally has joined us, but because she walked in midway through the presentation, we're gonna be with the board that was sitting at a table prior. Hi, Abby. Welcome. Okay. Holly, do you have anything to say on this?
Just that, you know, it is contributing structure and it's sad that nobody can take it. And I just want to emphasize the fact that although we do have moving structures within our, you know, we've been doing it for 270 plus years. Because the fact that Nantucket is so unique and we have no donut holes in our jurisdiction, when you move a contributing structure to another location, it's still contributing. And those contributing structures can still apply for historic tax credit. So it is a shame that nobody could get this, but at the same time, I do appreciate the owners trying, especially how long ago this has been before the commission. So it's a shame, it's sad, but I have nothing further to say. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks, Holly. Okay, folks, what do we think?
I feel like this house, while it's might be contributing, it's also very common and it doesn't stand out as a particularly significant contributing structure, and I think I'm okay with it.
Okay, Carrie, thank you.
I'm okay too. It's unfortunate. But I think you've done your due diligence to try to find someone to take it for the last few years. So I'd be okay with the demolition. Sad, but okay.
All right, thank you. Joseph,
I agree with Carrie and Connie.
okay. Diane,
Whatever you decide, I think it's too bad. Building isn't in bad condition. We're talking about building affordable housing all over the.
They don't
place.
want it. The housing people don't.
No, I'm sure.
I
that-
know, oh yeah, we tried with them too. They were great. They reached out to so many people and it also needs a lot of work. Unfortunately, some of the people that looked at it said we would love it, but just the amount of work that would go into it, it wouldn't make sense. Yeah,
Thanks, Jane.
it's sad for us too.
Let's let Diane finish.
No,
Um,
if it's
you-
gotta go, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like racking my brain trying to think of where I could put this, but
Me too.
It's 952
okay,
square feet.
where?
How can it be moved in one piece, Val?
I
Two,
don't know, Jane, did you know?
yeah, two, it would be two pieces.
And it would have to be cut in half right down the middle,
Yes.
or
Yeah, exactly. And
Down the-
that's what makes it hard too, because it's very expensive.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, well, listen, it sounds like the consensus view is that it's, well, I think we can all agree that it's unpleasant to have a charming building like this leave, but sounds like you've looked at it from every possible angle after 2 years. Does somebody like to make a motion on this one?
I motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, so Joe's motion is to approve the demo as submitted. On Joe's motion, Connie, Carrie,
I
Diane, Joe on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. Motion carries.
Thank you. And Jane, correct me if I'm wrong. You're gonna let people take anything they want out of it before you
Oh,
demo it.
that's a super idea.
yes, absolutely. We've actually, for the past couple of weeks, we've been having people come over and take all kinds of things. Like things for kids, and we just have a lot in the house, and we're gonna continue until until the demolition date is in place. But yes, absolutely. And I really appreciate what all of you have done for us. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next up, 79 Pulpus Road. Anybody? Up, there we are. Let's see, so Abby has joined us, so we have Val, Diane, Abby, Ray. And we're gonna go into a little bit of a rotation. Why don't we take Connie?
Can I actually take a quick,
Yeah, of
Right.
course you can.
Okay.
All right, so let me rephrase that. We're gonna have actually, everyone sitting at the table. Assuming Val's departing. All right, so 79 Pulpus. Fireplace pavilion. Yeah, there's at least one in the thing here. So you ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so good evening. My name is Reed. I'm here representing 79 Pulpus Road with a new structure proposal. This structure is a exterior fireplace pavilion. The structure is open air, unenclosed space covering about 350 square feet of patio space below. The structure is a complement to the previously approved cabana that would oppose it on the pool, as you can see in the site plan there. We feel that this single gable form would reinforce the theme of symmetry that's already very present in the architectural language of the house. The structure itself is not attached or supported via the chimney, via state building code. We understand that there is a letter from a butter, which we can address their comments after that is brought to attention. The final images, or wherever those images were in that packet, were an attempt to help visualize the view from Public Way. As you can see, the house is currently under construction. This is standing on Pulpus Road. That yellow, that yellow form there is what we predict to be the end result of what's viewable from the Public Way, and I can describe the process of how we came to that particular diagram, if that's helpful. And then the third image of that packet is from Drew Lane, showing that this structure would not likely be visible, or will not be visible from the public road or any public way.
Thank you. I got a question.
Yes, sir.
As part of your package, I think you included this garage sort of structure. That's not part of your application, right? You're just saying what's on the property.
The other structure is the cabana structure, which is opposing it on the pool. So the gables of these two structures are identical. The primary gables, I should say. The
Well,
other one has a small-
wait, but I want to make sure of something. So what we're supposed to be reviewing right now is your outdoor
It's like a gazebo, basically.
gazebo, with the fireplace in it.
Yes,
But are you wanting to review a second structure as well?
no, just the one.
Just the one?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I mean, you have drawings of the house, which is helpful. But then we also have this sort of other thing.
That was approved, you said, right?
Yes, previously approved.
Gotcha. And you're just adding, you put it in there so that we know what it looks like. Got
Yes.
it. Okay.
And just to show that the gables are the same. The width of
Yeah.
the structures are the same.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes,
Don't mind.
please, Joe, go.
The stone that you have as part of this chimney, it looks like the base of this is parged and then the back of it is parged on the east elevation, upper right. So it says parged.
Yes,
But then the side view of the chimney is this stacked stone sort of. Is there a speck or a photograph on the stone? And then the other part of that was, is there stonework like that that's been approved on either of the other structures that are there?
so the stone has not been yet selected, but we are anticipating a natural stone veneer. So that's the reason for the parging, the partial parging. So because the stone hasn't been selected, I can't provide a photo of
Okay,
a similar one.
but there's no other chimney. It didn't look like there's a chimney on the house unless. I
No,
missed
there's
it.
not.
Okay.
Hmm.
You mind if I say something?
I don't mind at all, no.
I guess this is another question. The shingles, looking at the side elevations, those are shingle walls that are returning, right? So on the plan between those posts, there should be, is that a shingled wall that sort of makes like a ingle nook at the end or?
So those are actually, that was advised by the mason to help with the draw through the chimney, the partial enclosure.
Right, so this, right there, is that shingled?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like it. I think it's actually a nice counterpoint to the mass of the house. Which is already approved.
Mhm. And built.
Yeah, and built. And I like how it balances out the backyard and I think it's going to be screened. And I did read the letter from the neighbor. I think this, if you called this a gazebo, it might have raised fewer alarms. It's called a fireplace pavilion. But it's a gazebo. It's under 16 feet, which is the maximum height of a shed that supposedly doesn't count as ground cover and by zoning. And they've kind of established a visual threshold of a height limit, if you will, and you're underneath that height limit. There is no height limit on this, but I think that makes me think that it's even more benign. So I'm okay with it.
Okay, Joe, thank you. Who's next?
I can go.
Thanks, Abby.
I definitely call it a gazebo with the fireplace rather than the other way around, because it just seems so like, oh my God, there's gonna be fires all over the place. It's simple. I would do I think a stone, chimney would be fine. I just wanted to see, the proximity. Could you bring up the site plan?
Here, you want to look here?
Yeah, no, I was just looking here, the proximity to the, what's it called, the offset. What's it called? Setback.
It's not at the setback, it's 21 feet off the property line. And it appears.
I think the thing that's really killing this and that got the neighbors, just that word fireplace. I think just, yeah, goes right, just call it a gazebo that happens to have a fireplace.
Semantics, it comes up.
Your supplier.
Yeah. Abby, thank you. Who's next?
Well, I'll go if you like.
I would love that.
I just asking, we seem to have another cabana down at the other end of the pool with a bathroom and all that stuff. Place to get food and everything, and it's approximately the same size as this one is. So I don't know what the sort of the use of this, and you've got poured retaining walls on the top of it that sort of isolates the pool equipment. What are those poured walls made out of?
Those are concrete,
They're what?
concrete.
Just straight
Oh, they're rendered as stone.
The retaining wall.
poured retaining walls.
I can't see necessarily. I believe it's just a gray hatch, supposedly, or it's just
Maybe I'm
supposed
looking
to.
at the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's above it on the plan.
Yeah.
It's like
Do you want to see
all of that.
Let me see.
Yeah,
here
Yeah.
and here? And there's the pool equipment.
Okay, well, Diane, that's a seriously interesting question and
Very.
point. Okay, so what's bubbled in red on your site plan is
Right,
the building.
yes,
That poured retaining wall is not bubbled. So we're not reviewing that.
no,
We're not approving it. That's not part of this application.
right.
Okay. So Diane, that's like not part of this.
okay. Well,
So,
what I don't know, what I would like to see would be, if they're going to do anything, is to give me a view of what this side of the first cabana, the pool, the second one looks like.
of the
just-
first one,
I'd like to see what all three look like.
so you actually have that information. If
where?
you scroll down. The second drawing. Which is sheet 9 of 18. Shows the cabana. Yes. And the third and fourth drawings are of the main house. Did you say the cabana is built?
No, it is not built.
Not built. Okay.
This must be the cabana, because it doesn't show a chimney. I don't know.
Yeah, it says cabana. It's sheet
Yeah.
A 9.10.
I've got sheet 18.
Yeah.
9 of 18, so just
Correct.
it, I don't know. See what somebody else thinks about it.
I
Okay,
think a section through this would be helpful, from the property line through the gazebo to the edge of the water of the pool, because to Diane's point about the pool equipment and the retaining wall, even though it's not part of this application, you'd need an application for that.
Yeah,
And it implies to me that you're leveling out the grade back there in order to get level area for the fireplace pavilion. And that retaining wall is being pushed as close as possible to the setback line too. So I think we need to see what the contour plan is to create the level area for the fireplace pavilion. And I think that the retaining wall ought to become part of the application.
Well,
And I think it's great that you noticed it.
I agree with you.
Well, all right. So it can't actually be part of this particular application, which is a piece of architecture.
Right.
But it certainly can be and should be part of the application for the landscape. Now, has the pool, do you have an approved, HCC approved landscape plan with the pool?
Yes.
You do. And what was that retainage part of it?
I wasn't the one who did that application, so I just know that it has been approved. I would have to go back and look.
Okay, so I think that there's enough ambiguity, because like this is not showing any topo. That your site plan at the moment. So we have no idea, you know, that could theoretically be a 10-foot drop off and you wouldn't be able to tell it from these plans.
Right.
So to Diane and Joe's point, I think that although let's go back to the architecture for just a moment. It didn't sound to me like anyone had any issues per se with the architecture of this building. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I would like this gentleman to walk away knowing what's okay and what's not. So is the real issue having to do with the retainage that's shown that's not part of this application? But we want to know that to have a better understanding.
Now.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
and looking at the little indentation for the pool equipment,
Yeah,
when this first got approved, if this structure wasn't even on the table, the pool equipment be very coincidental if it was
right there.
in that location at exactly the same width as this building. So it feels like that retaining wall and the pool equipment bunker were modified when this structure was done. So even if it has been approved, it's probably been changed. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it's probably been changed in a way to complement this. And so I think it does make sense to go back and get some clarification on it.
Joe's day job is a private investigator.
I can see that. Can I make a motion to hold? so
Yeah.
I can track those two things together.
Right. So just give
That's
us
fine.
some more information. Joe had said a section through so that we can see how tall the retainage is, how much fill there is to create the flat platform, et cetera, so that we can move forward with approving your fireplace.
Gazebo with the
Gazebo.
fireplace.
Gazebo.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So Abby has made that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay. Emeritus has just joined us, just in time at 37 Fair. Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well.
How's your
Thank you.
summer going?
It's, a bit busy, but
Been in the water?
I did. I got in the water
right.
this weekend, so
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
it was lovely.
You have to go in the water at least once.
Yeah.
As a year-round resident.
About.
Before the summer's over. Yeah, I still have to get over there. Yeah, I have to the end of August though. Okay, so Matthew, you're putting a chimney on a building,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. So this is just an application for a chimney. It's at the back of the building. This is a house that we did a renovation, small addition to, and so we're just looking to add a chimney in the back of the structure and try to keep it as diminutive as possible. And so look forward to the board's comments.
Okay, so I'm looking at a front elevation that has some windows and shutters bubbled in red, but that's already approved.
Actually,
Right.
can we look at that front elevation?
The only thing you're asking for is the back chimney.
I think, oh, sorry, those are the previous approvals. So yes,
Yeah.
the only thing we're
Though
adding
they're
is,
still bubbled in red. I just was making sure that we're not approving something.
I think we
shouldn't be.
included the previous approval for reference. And so
Oh.
that's,
Okay, Matt, thank you. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, this is 37 Fair Street, individually significant structure within the fish lots, circa 1830 Greek Revival, built by Benjamin E. Robinson, who actually was the father of the infamous Charles H. Robinson, who built a lot of the structures on Nantucket, one of our favorites.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
Matt and yes, who also built the Surfside Life Saving Station. So construction was in their family blood. And then you all approved some renovations to it over the past year. While obviously there was an existing chimney on the original rear L, and that original rear L was dated approximately 1892 to 1898 and removed with recent approval and renovations. It was on the ridge of the two-story rear L and a much smaller in scale. So I would recommend for the chimney to be more a replication, if you will, if possible, of that former chimney, both size and scale, along with the simple corbelling as referenced in the as-built drawings and as seen from the west and south. And at the end of the day, I appreciate seeing a chimney going back on this historic structure.
Me too.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Holly, thank you. Mickey,
We had no concerns, but I like Holly's recommendations for replicating or trying to match the original one. That's it.
thanks.
Where is that on this plan?
What?
Showing where the original one was.
It didn't show it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Who's sitting on?
This is Bissinger's old house, right? At the corner of Darling and Fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was more
Yeah.
at the end of the L, which is historically.
Yeah, That's
Is that
what
better?
I was gonna say. I can go.
Yes, go, Abby.
Yeah, so that was I was supposed to look at these for consent, and I just didn't feel that it was it's historic, so I felt that it should go on the end and should be smaller than the one on the main mast, and not so it doesn't compete, and maybe it would look more like it it was added to be like a part of the kitchen in the rear and added to the end and smaller. So that's, I like seeing a chimney there, but I was just wanted to be in a more historic siting and smaller than the main one.
Okay, Abby, thank you. Who's next?
I'll go.
Thanks.
I like it at the end thing, what I think would be important for it to be corbelled up at the top the way the main chimney is. And wide enough so it's important. And if you don't want it as wide as the existing chimney, but I think it makes for a better looking thing to have it at the end of that wall roof.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
I'll
Val,
go.
yeah,
I don't have any concerns. I actually think this chimney is like a little tall and skinny, even though that was the original. And you could make you could say this was the end of the house and then we added back on it or something. So it's the rear of the house. I think it's fine.
thank you, Val. Connie, let's have you on this one, all right?
I really don't have any concerns either.
Good. I'm gonna tell you folks why I don't have a concern with this. Although I agree with the idea, the concept of where ideally should be. Right now, Matt, I believe, has an approval for a rear L that has no chimney at all on it,
Correct.
right? And this chimney its visibility is essentially going to be when you're walking down Darling Street and looking across that lovely side yard of this house at the side porch. And it's behind the ridge. So it could be like, you'd really have to be paying a lot of attention to it to know that it was sort of off the ridge. You know, it could just be sitting right adjacent to the ridge. And Matt has interior program stuff that placed this chimney where it's showing. So given the choice between like not having a chimney and having one place where Matthew has placed it, I'd rather have the chimney there than not there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my view.
If I could, Mr. Chair, yeah, so
Yeah.
the placement of it is a direct result of the interior programming. So there's a kitchen in that 1-story element. And the owners went through great expense and by keeping a lot of the original structure. So it was a pretty sensitive renovation. We worked within the footprint and retained a lot of the original structure. So the location of it, to move it would be very difficult, I think, given that we would try to do something differently or not at all, which would be obviously less than ideal. And there's
Yeah,
also,
I appreciate the fact that a chimney's returning to the back of the building. I think that's nice. So anyway, well,
if I could add one more thing too, there's that large tree that beautiful tree that's in
Yeah.
the yard. And so
Yeah.
in terms of the visibility from Darling, I think even that you'd be looking through the tree. So it'd be even further obstructed. But even having seen it, I don't think it would be detrimental.
okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Matt. See where it goes. What would we like to do with this, folks?
I'll try a motion.
Okay.
Motion to approve through staff with the corbelling to be a little more traditional than what's being presented here. And just as an aside, I walk by this a lot.
Yeah.
The porch is fantastic.
Yeah, that porch is a killer. It's one of the
Thank
really
you.
great porches on Nantucket. So Val, that's Val's motion. And we could do this via voice vote. All those in favor of Val's motion say aye.
Aye.
I think that was unanimous. Was anyone in opposition to that? No.
I was, but I changed my mind.
Thank you.
It's like that, was it Crosby wrote that book, 99% perfect, right? It's like, okay, well, this is like 95% perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
A minus.
A-, yeah, but Matt,
Yes.
A- is still a passing grade, you know.
95 is an A.
Well,
Below
yeah.
95 was A minus, remember?
Oh, A-, but it's still a passing grade. Okay, so now we're on to 14 Berkeley. Anybody for that? Anyone to,
Josiah Newman.
oh, that's what J-N is, Josiah Newman. Okay. Oh, so Matthew, we're back to you, friend. Do we need a motion we're just gonna pass it over. Is that okay?
Hold for representation?
Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There we go. Okay. Now we're back to you, Matt. 28 Main Realty Trust. Let's see. You know, I feel so bad for Carrie. She's out there. She's in Zoom right now.
Is she? Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
perfectly happy.
The
She's
cold
perfectly
building.
happy, she said.
What?
She
I'm
just said.
perfectly happy.
I would have been her, but I couldn't get on the damn Zoom
Yeah,
thing.
well, it might be the bandwidth on Nantucket now is awful. It's awful.
Cool.
Okay, so Carrie, thanks. So, Joe, you want to sit on this one?
Sure.
All right. Matthew.
Okay, thank you. So this is an application to replace windows. This is a house that we renovated and did an addition to in the rear of the structure. And the windows are in really poor shape. And so we want to replace the windows that are identified, and also I think the clapboard, if I recall correctly. So understanding that it's a historic structure, the windows are of considerable age. But, you know, just as a general aside, I feel like more and more clientele are dealing with this issue of windows. And while I am sympathetic to retaining as much historic fabric, I would say that windows are much like tires on an antique car. You know, they eventually fail, and, you know, trying to reconstruct them can be a fruitless effort. And so I know the board's position on replacing windows if they're of a certain age, and try to be as use our best judgment in terms of determining whether or not we can salvage them, and how much is left of them, how much they've been repaired over the years to the point where they're really not the same window. So open to any suggestions the board might have, but look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Okay.
I just have
Thanks.
a quick question. Sorry to jump in there.
Yeah, you can jump in there, but I do want to hear from Holly.
Oh, sorry.
But
I was just the clouds, they're all of the windows look like they have a designation that references the window schedule, but then only some of them are clouded. Are you asking to replace the areas that are clouded, or is it all the windows?
Just the areas that are clouded.
The rear is all new,
Rear is new.
Okay.
so this
I
is
was
the
just
original
confused by the
house.
window schedule.
Sorry about
Okay,
that.
thanks, sorry.
okay, now it's your turn, Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, for the record, this is a circa 1837 individually significant Greek revival summer cottage, the Villa Jerome. It was built by Matthew Crosby. It also has the name of the Frederick Mitchell House, and you all approved an addition on the rear and some renovations in 2020 and 2021. So we did receive a window survey. Thank you. I would say that the windows look good. But this would be for replace 14 windows and the clapboard as necessary. Like kind replacement of clapboard is fine. I assume this is obviously due to the request for the window replacement. That obviously goes hand in hand, just like somebody would do if they're replacing on a shingled clap structure. Appreciate the window survey. However, the photos don't really show rot and the need for replacements of windows to this significant dwelling. The only windows not touched are these front windows, as they were either demoed due to the addition at the rear and requests for the SDLs in 2021 for the rear. And then in 2020, there was also approval through staff for an addition fenestration changes that were actually approved, quote, with the west double hung second floor windows to remain, which is actually now included in this request tonight to be changed. And then in 2021, approved through staff with changes of windows to SDL, which was for the new addition, and the windows on the old, quote unquote, old section to remain. So the requests for windows have been kind of a theme throughout applications for this structure. Just wanted to point that out there. There is, you know, and Matt brings up a good point, but these seem to be very historic to this individually significant structure. It's better to repair and salvage the windows rather than replace with new. There are studies out there that show, especially of certain structures' age, that windows of a certain age would actually be better if they are restored versus replaced with a completely new window. So maybe that without further inspection of the age and condition, they should be rather repaired accordingly. I want to know also, I did receive an email from Rob Benchley with his group out in Sconset. And I did have a comment sent in that says, in the survey prepared for Sconset Trust by Marcia Fader and Betsy Tyler, respective, obviously architectural historians, the windows were noted as integral part of the many original exterior and interior architectural details that remained for nearly 200 years until the last sale and ongoing renovation. Without question, the historic windows and clapboards should remain and be restored if necessary, but from many photos, they appear to be in pristine condition. And I echo those statements. So those are comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. So the other thing, maybe I missed this, but there seems to be a preservation easement on this building. Is that correct?
I'd have to look into that.
Well, maybe I'm looking at the wrong document. I don't think so. So let's see, what page are we looking
It's
at?
got some history, starting page 33. 32 of 72. A lot of history.
Yeah. I guess I just saw table of contents, introduction, Sconset Trust, Inc., preservation easements. Abby, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so, Matt, what's the difference in dimensions from the originals if you were to?
There would be no dimension. There would be no change to the dimension of the windows.
But restoration isn't in your,
We've looked at it, but it's fairly complex in that at the end of the day, this owner feels really strongly about getting a tight seal, like they're basically drafty. So, we could look at alternatives of maybe rebuilding the frames, but this is the new owner and he, basically a couple of the windows are actually in his office. And, if you're there on a fall day, you can actually feel the breeze coming in. So that's why we're here, just to ask the
Okay.
board's opinion.
So Matt, I'm going to jump in sort of on the heels of what Abby just asked. These are those windows that have very, very narrow sash. I mean, maybe 1 3/4 inches. And I wonder if it's even possible to mill something that thin, like to actually get it to be just the way it is. And also, is your request to replace the sash or the sash and the jambs, like the whole bit, or just the sash?
The whole bit.
Yeah, because these sash don't have tracks. They're basically like held in place by a stop, which is why they're drafty. So in order to get your client to be where they want to be, I think you'd have to replace the whole thing. Casings, everything, right?
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay, got it. What do you think, folks?
I think they should come up with some sort of interior storm window they can put on there. If it's that cold, it's just, we're starting to erode the really historic structures and the SDL. Well, I know he's not applying for SDL, but looking at the pictures too, they look great.
Yeah, that's the
I
funny
did
thing
it.
is all the windows look so wonderful on the
Yeah.
inside. Yeah.
These photographs keep
I
really
live in
causing me
a
trouble.
house with old windows in the front. It was 1835 it was built. And the front windows are somewhere along that line. And these look like they're brand new compared to
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I have. They have to be repairable. They can't look as good as this and not be able to be fixed.
If I could, Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Matt.
I might suggest me circling back with my client and his contractor. I think I got the general feeling of the board on the matter. And let's see if we can't come up with some kind of a strategy that might make them
Yeah,
more
Okay.
airtight.
I think it would be extremely tough
I
for
never
somebody
saw
to
that.
mill new this. Okay, so Abby has made a motion to hold for further information, kind of.
revisions.
further information revisions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
By the way, let's see,
We said pizza. We said the word pizza. Is that?
that's not what I was gonna say.
Ah.
Joe, you were sitting on that one, right? That was the rotation. Yeah, that's
Correct,
right.
yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, should we break for a minute or two
Yeah.
for pizza?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, man.
Yeah,
We're on
hold for
paying for the
notification.
pizza, the draw.
I don't hear.
All right, so folks, it's 4 minutes to 6. Let's reconvene at 6:05, okay? I think, I think we did. All those in favor, right? Aye. Any opposed? There we go. Okay, thanks, Holly. Sorry. I know it's minuscule. It's so tiny. You know, the only issue with the interior storm. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden you get all this moisture that builds up in between those two, and that causes rot.
Yeah.
You know, it drips
This house
down.
has to be practically all brand new except for those windows. At this point.
But look at them and they, dear God,
It just has a gap in the bottom.
now they have to look at the way
But not from everybody.
they hold them up.
Well, that
I never
would
thought
work.
that.
I'm trying to think there's something else like that.
And Mama does too, although her windows are SDL, but they don't.
The what?
My old windows are the ones with the lead weights,
Oh, yeah.
No window.
the front part of the house. Why aren't interior windows, storm windows, a good idea?
He just said
When?
No.
27th of October, 1 to 5 at the VFW.
October,
27 October.
no, October 21st.
21st, I thought.
21st.
This is per Gussie. She had posted. Join us for celebration of life for John McLaughlin on October 21st from 1 to 5 at the VFW.
1 to 5 via VFW. Fantastic. Somebody just asked me about that yesterday. So now I can tell them.
I just got it today on the Facebook.
Great. Okay. We should post that somewhere. Oh. Oh, yeah. That's, yes, definitely. So next up, we have Ben. Is Ben on? Oh, he is. Okay. Hi, Ben. All right, so 12 Gay Street, let's see. In our rotation, we're to Connie. Revise, add screens. So Ben, the first thing we're gonna do is to add the screens, okay?
That's correct. So, yeah, we had you all approved a screen and porch on the side of the structure. And we are now requesting to add screens to that screen and porch, or that porch, to make a screen and porch. And we're also going to, we're requesting to remove the staircase to the screen and porch. So the only access to it would be from the structure itself.
Thanks, Ben. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, this is the Atlantic Silk Company. It's circa 1835 to 1836. Structure individually significant, and it's a guest house. It was converted into a duplex some years ago. And you all, I couldn't remember when you all approved this, but it was approved in January of this year on consent. So I'm not sure of any precedent of a Greek revival of this era with a screened in and paneled porch. It would be awesome to see examples if that's necessary. And with the removal of the exterior stair, I was kind of unsure of that. Does that mean it's going to be floating and there's no access from the outside? How is it accessed? Is it just from the inside? And then I wanted to mention if that's going to be removed, it looked like it was still shown on the site plan and the floor plan. So that would have to be revised if the commission's so inclined to approve. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. How about you, Mickey?
Yeah, so, you're looking at the previous approval, not the proposed drawing right there on the screen. Somewhere there's a proposed drawing.
Oh, okay.
It's probably that one. Oops. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So our comments were, we didn't have any concerns at screening it in. I think that's kind of it's interesting what Holly says. I'm not sure specifically with this style of architecture if there are examples of screened in porches on this type of building. I suspect there might be, but we didn't have any real concerns with the concept. Our thoughts were, if you could just zoom in a little bit more on the porch itself. Our thoughts were to try to reduce the width of the sort of the center screen mullion by, making that 3 screen panels rather than 6. And you might still need, just for integrity of the screening, you might need the center part of the panel to be present, but it could just be a supporting stick, not a mullion, so to speak.
Yep.
So that, I think that would reduce the verticality just to some degree. So that was really it. That was our thoughts.
Okay, Mickey, thank you. Okay, board members.
I think that's a great idea. The part that I wasn't sure about was the panel below.
Hmm.
That seems unusual. Is there any way to? Could you shingle it?
Can I suggest a couple of things?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know, one thing that we've done is we've kept the balusters and then just added a screen panel on the inside of that, behind the balusters. So that it's screened, but you get it looks like a balustered rail like what it is now. That's one. And then the other one is if it were just those vertical boards, they wouldn't be panelized. They would just be vertical boards like an infill. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of screen and porches in this neighborhood, especially on Hussey's, not Hussey, Quince Street. And this was a replica of the detailing of that house on Quince Street that Mike Friedman just completed. But there's a number of them.
And you don't have any photos of that, do you?
I didn't submit them now, so I'm sorry. I guess I got lazy, but yeah, there's a lot of screen. I was surprised how many there were, and there's different ways to handle that panel. Not having it having it with stiles and rails and just the board going up to the sill it would be fine. But the panel idea is not as uncommon as you think it is.
Okay, Ben, thanks. Val, anything else?
No, I think if maybe I saw a picture of it, I understand it more. It just seems foreign to me.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I do have a comment or a question to Ben that I noticed on the plans and I forgot to mention in my notes. Is that underneath at every elevation, you can see it on the west elevation here and on the north, it says note, replace cracked window panes as needed. And I was questioning on what that was regarding. All windows, which windows?
That's kind of a construction for contractor to understand that some of the old windows in the house have cracked window panes in them that need to be reglazed. Just remove the actual piece of glass and reglaze a piece of glass in the existing sash. So just repair work that may need to happen. Maintenance, I would call it.
Did you see that? No.
Mr. Chair, through you.
Holly, go.
I think it would be, if that's something that's going to be, looked out in the field, because I know sometimes you can't figure that out until you're out in the field. I think that there should be a follow-up for, like kind repair application to the commission.
Okay.
It can't go through staff because it's in the OHD.
You got that,
Thank you.
Ben?
Got it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, were you guys wanting to talk over here?
No, I noticed that it says the beadboard underneath the porch is Folger blue, and I thought that was strange, but now looking back at the pictures, the front door has blue.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Is it gonna be the same?
Yep, the same blue to match the front door.
And the skinny little sticks?
No, not the detailing of the skinny little sticks, no, but it's the same blue, but it's a tight board. It's a 1x6. D groove.
Okay,
No,
sorry, who?
I could.
Yeah, go.
I think the whole addition should be white and with the V groove underneath the screen. I agree. I think the verticality of the screen, that the divider is annoying. I'm just wondering if it couldn't just be one piece. I'd like to look through this and see the windows, the two windows beyond, with not so much obstruction. So you see that those are original windows, the four on the first floor. I don't know if you had thought of doing windows instead of screens, because I think that would look really classy. So those are my thoughts. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Who wants to go next?
Who's on it?
Well,
Everybody here?
Diane and Joseph. Yeah, I thought that was the right rotation, right? Or Connie, are we back to you? I'm sorry.
Connie's happy to.
Oh,
handle the-
okay, so
That's fine.
who sat on Matt's project out in Sconset? Which one of you sat on that one? You did? Okay, so it is to you, Connie. Yep.
I can go. I don't really have much else to add. I do agree. I would like to see one large screen, if that was the way to go, instead of the divided. But I like the window idea. I think that would be much classier.
Okay. Thank you, Connie.
You want me to-
All right, so, sorry, Diane. Yeah, go
That's
ahead.
right.
Yeah.
I am agree with Abby. Doing it white and keeping so you can see the old windows. Because I think they're important, old original windows. Although I love the blue color that's at least the iPad shows up in that blue, it's really good, but I think white in this particular location would be better.
Okay, Diane, thank you. So I'm going to point one thing out, and that is that the foundation brick is currently painted Folger blue. Is that right, Ben?
Let me see what color that is. Yeah, it's a very dark. No, yeah, the
No,
one
it's
side of the
light.
building is very dark. Yes, it's like a very light baby blue.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it could pass for Folger blue. So
Sure.
that's why I thought, and this is not the whole porch that he's requesting, only those vertical boards down at the foundation level. So I could see why he would have chosen.
So
that.
it's not the one like the front door?
No, he's got two different blues going on. One is lighter blue on the foundation, and the other one is the somewhat darker blue on the door.
Which is, yeah, and below the front door is also that dark
Same
blue.
doesn't it look like?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's blue.
that's a pretty blue.
Is
Like that is, Ben, weren't you hoping to match the foundation color with the boards underneath
Yep.
the skirt?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
below the skirt, but then obviously below the screen is white.
Correct. Okay.
So it's not Folger blue, it's a grayish blue.
We just need to find out what it is. I
Folger
just
blue
wanted
is
to
like the door.
clarify that. So yeah, like everyone else, I'm not loving the vertically formatted panels. I think it's, visually intrusive. But I know that you can figure out another better, lighter solution to that. And maybe we should just see photos of this other building that you're talking about on Quince.
Yep, no
That
problem.
panel thing. So it looks like we're looking at a couple of revisions here, folks.
No problem.
Should we?
Motion to hold for revisions and more information.
Very good. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? There we go. Okay, now we're gonna do the drive.
So do you want me to jump right into it or? you wanna-
Yeah, just jump right into it.
Okay, so the property has not had a off-street parking in recent memory, which, as you can imagine, living in town is incredibly frustrating. But there is an existing curb cut on Westminster, is that Westminster? And Arcus Barrow was brave enough to go in front of the select board to request this new curb cut, and he was approved at the select board for this format. So the existing curb cut would be filled in as I'm noted on the plan. The new curb cut has been approved as shown with a single brick parking spot as shown on this plan. So again, we are approved at the select board for this parking spot. And now we're asking you guys to also approve it.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, this is for the circa 1835, 1836 Atlantic Silk Company, now a guest house. So the site plan, it's not clear on the brick, the bond, and the size of the parking spot of the driveway with dimensions. One, it will need to comply with the zoning bylaw 139-20.1 for location and from point of intersection. And two, with the size and dimensions of the driveway. Brick obviously is appropriate, but not sure of full brick parking spot. That seems to be a very wide space. So again, having dimensions would be helpful. Especially in this area of the town, of town, a lot of the driveways are a little narrow in nature in the Wesco acre lots. To match the brick of the sidewalk, and it should be running bond. But a detailed site plan with dimensions is necessary. The existing granite curb also should be used for the corner round. It's going to be necessary. And then any leftover must be provided to DPW, which they'll indicate on your encroachment application, which you'll need this COA obviously to go with it. The existing sidewalk is perpendicular running bond to Westminster Street. And the running bond of the parking should then be parallel with the driveway width and should be reduced in size and width as much as possible. And I'm glad to hear, because that was my last comment about select board approval and going through BPAC and all that. So I'm glad to hear that Art Gasparo was able to do that. It would be very helpful to have that correspondence within the file, should the commission be so inclined. And if you are, I would recommend through staff. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Holly. Mickey.
We had no concerns with this, but you know, when I'm looking at the site plan, a thought just occurred to me, and this may not work, but it might look better. What if the parking was parallel to the side property line, which would actually make it more parallel to the house layout also. It might be a little awkward getting in and out, but they could back in and drive out pretty easily. So just a thought as an option, just thought I'd throw it out. Thanks.
Interesting concept. Is Westminster one way?
Yes,
In which direction?
going away from Gay Street.
Towards Quince or towards?
Yeah, towards Quince, yeah, away.
Oh, so that it would work, what Mickey's saying would work. You know?
To back in, yes, to pull in, nose in, it would be a real tricky one.
Oh, well, I got another question for you. From the photograph, it looks like there's a fair amount of grade change between the yard and Westminster uphill. Meaning that you're either going to drive up a hill to park or that you're going to cut the parking space in which case you're going to need a little bit of retainage. Have you thought that one through?
Yeah, no, they're not gonna retain, so there'll be a hump, let's call it, to get onto the parking.
It's gonna be a bit of one, yeah, okay, just as long as you know that.
Yeah.
All right, who would like to begin?
I just have a question
Yeah,
or two. You're getting rid of the side, the. Help me out here, people. The walkway.
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of the walkway, so it'll just be lawn.
Okay, that was one, and then the tree that's bisected by the fence now is staying.
That tree was removed like 9 months ago or so.
Oh,
It's been gone.
looks in
What'd you
sad
say
shape.
about the tree?
It's gone. What,
It was split between the neighbors. It went right up.
it's like, the fence looks like it's passing right through the tree.
Yeah. And they cut the tree down? That's an elm tree.
No, that is a sycamore maple.
Just when you think
That's.
Yeah,
definitely
I don't know too much about it. I know that it did come down. I think there was a lot of concern from both neighbors that it was starting to be dangerous. But I don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah. All right, so let's continue the discussion on the parking spot. So who would like to chime in?
Could I just ask a question
Yeah.
about Nikki's idea? Was that to make it parallel to the house instead of like doing it at an angle?
He wants it to run parallel to the property, the
Property line.
yeah,
Yeah. I think
which
that-
would make it go a little bit against traffic. You'd have to back into it.
I thought that was a good idea. I have no, I imagine this is gonna be surrounded by hedge, so you don't see it from the porch, with the car. Is the driveway going to be surrounded by privet, or is it just gonna be open?
I think my clients are so happy to actually get planning board to approve or a select board to approve this, that a full landscape package hasn't been thought out yet. So right now it's just gonna be kind of in their lawn.
I think it's simple. I think that what's proposed is fine. Simple brick running bond is fine.
Okay. Thank you, Abby. Let's see. Connie,
I'm okay with this.
good?
I'll go.
Yeah, Diane,
I think the brick is fine. With some planting around, it doesn't have to be 7 foot high. Privet, I think, but I'd like to see it even going into the property and something growing there.
okay. That was everyone, right? So my view is, I'm fine with it as long as we append the stipulations about the direction of the running bond as per Holly. And even though I think Mickey's suggestion of having it square to the side lot line is a good one, it would require somebody to back into it. So I'm okay with it just going in the way it's shown. So what should we do with this, folks? Sorry? Oh, yeah, yeah.
try to
Ben,
make a
some
motion.
dimensions on there would be great.
If
Okay,
you want,
Val, give it a go.
motion to approve through staff with the brick running in accordance with Holly's suggestion.
Is that, let me, just so that we're clear, you said that the brick going on the sidewalk was going perpendicular to Westminster, right?
Yes, right now, yes.
So it's going the short way.
Yes, so basically the sidewalk would be like the apron.
Correct.
And-
So that's going the short way, which means that the running bond on the actual parking space
Would be
would go
parallel.
parallel to
Yes.
Westminster.
Exactly, yep.
There you
Yeah.
go. All right, so that's.
So
that's-
there's that.
Yep. Just so we had it.
I think that was it, right?
That was it. We're gonna presume that they're saving the
Oh, and
curb
to
stones.
put the size,
Oh, yeah, mark the size,
the dimensions on as well through staff.
all through staff. So that is Val's motion. All those in favor of Val's motion, say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, we've got one more by Ben.
Thank you.
All right. Fairgrounds.
I was surprised this wasn't a consenter.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, so this whole house was on consent about a month ago.
I know, that's why I'm like surprised, but
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's fine.
we're just gonna move, hey, let's cut it. So we're just gonna move this one, okay? Ben, with your approval? Is that all
motion
right?
to approve as submitted.
There we go. All those in favor, and I'm gonna say, so you reviewed this, right? Isn't this the one that you reviewed? Never mind.
we'll have you sitting on this.
Okay.
Because you motioned for approval too. But so I'm gonna take Val's motion, and so all those in favor of Val's motion to approve this, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? There we go. Okay, now we're to 16 Monomoy. Is James on board?
Thank you, everybody.
Is. Okay. Let's see, 69 Monomoy. Color change. Window color change.
And this was it.
This
I
is gonna be
had to
Connie.
review, and I was just unsure. I thought we had
All right, well,
made it.
that's
white.
reasonable. Yeah,
Get the approval.
okay.
Good
we all
evening.
Remember this application. Okay, James, tell us what you got. And I know it's simple.
It is simple. Yes, this was before you not too long ago. Previously approved as a Quaker gray windows with Quaker gray trim. The homeowners just decided they prefer the look of black, which is fairly prevalent in the neighborhood. You can see in some of the existing photos you're looking at now. So simply they want to change the approved window type of Quaker gray to black exterior, keeping the Quaker gray. Yes,
Leaving the Quaker gray casings and so forth.
that's correct.
So the only thing that would be changing is the sash color.
That is correct.
Got it. All right. Discussion on this one.
Connie, you're on this one, sorry.
Just wasn't sure. It seems like Monomoy used to be all white, and now it's going black.
A couple of light blue and some minty.
Yeah.
Light pastel.
Does anybody have any strong opinions on this one? I'm thinking no.
I think I'll be a no.
You're gonna be a no?
Yeah.
You don't want the black.
No.
I think I'm with Abs.
You don't want.
the black either.
Oh, James. Apparently there are some strong opinions. So, yeah. We should give him some feedback. For those of you that are against the black.
We, just as, to give him a fair shake at it, we could make a view of this. But I think, historically, I don't remember black sash. It was always a lighter feeling in Monomoy. And, I think this just looks a little harsh.
Does that sum up what Val and Diane are thinking?
Yep.
Connie, where are you on this one? Hey, James,
Yes, sir.
is this building built or being
No,
built?
no, it's
Still in
permitting right
development
now.
stages?
That's correct.
All right, so a view wouldn't be particularly helpful.
No,
Also,
I mean,
in your package,
Yes.
you said that there's a number of buildings that have this already in Monomoy, but we don't have any photos of those, I don't believe.
they were just up on the
does.
screen.
But they're not as close to the street as this either.
Can I speak to that through the chairman?
Yeah.
Directly across the street at 68 Monomoy is the exact same window type, and 2 doors down, which I believe is, I guess it would be 64, is also similar type. The next door neighbor directly next door is, I believe, Nantucket gray, if not Quaker gray. So, within 2 doors of this building, there's been recently approved and recently constructed post 2018 black sash here. While there are several colors down the street, it's not all white or all black. There is precedent in the neighborhood, especially towards this end of the neighborhood in particular.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thanks.
Sure.
All right, well, I don't know what the options are here.
Maybe we could have a view and be able to look specifically at along Monomoy. I don't, to see about the black.
Yeah.
could
Hold on, Val's gonna speak. Go ahead, Val.
I don't want to hold it up for this color change. I think it's unfortunate that everybody wants black. I don't get it. And we're looking at your picture of nice 67 and it looks gray and gray, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, waste of time to come back again. So does everybody feel strongly about the no black? I think it's unfortunate. That's all I'm gonna say.
Unfortunate about the change.
Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate because when, in my mind's eye, the streetscape is a lighter feeling and this is, maybe there are a few that, we allowed to happen, but I don't think it should be the norm and I don't think we should change the look of that old fashioned streetscape. So
I am with Abby.
Okay. Yeah, my view is that if we've approved it in the neighborhood, I'm not gonna say that I'm overly fond of it, but there is certainly precedent for it.
Well, to be fair to James, if he would allow us to do a view and he can come back next Tuesday,
Certainly.
based on that view, I would feel
Let's do
I
that.
can make a better.
All right.
Yeah.
And if it would help, I think I've documented the whole street. I can provide additional information unless you think the view is best for you. But whatever you think is necessary to
Well, for
render a
those
better
of us
view.
Who want to view it, and sort of gauge the impact of things overall, we'll view, but certainly wouldn't hurt for you to provide us with that information. for
We
next
can do that.
Tuesday. Is that
Sure.
all right?
So we'll hold
To come back next Tuesday for us to view and if James wants to add any additional evidence.
There it is. That's
I can-
Val's motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Okay, Chip
Have a good evening.
Webster. See you on. Not on. That's
I make
odd.
motion to over represent.
I'm so used to hearing Chip go, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Like really loud. Like, yeah, Chip, we can hear you. Okay, all right, so we're gonna pass over Chips we're back to Matt, but Matt's left the auditorium.
Mr. Chairman, he requested to hold till next week.
Okay. Oh, and Two Stone Alley, okay.
Again.
Uh-oh, here we go. It never ends. Is that under appeal?
It was a simple change.
It was, I couldn't figure out.
Just like the window.
What?
You guys confirm your vote.
It's the back sun porch here.
Uh-oh, Lisa's here. I gotta leave.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
There's Lisa.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm obviously recusing these two. Boy, and then we're almost done, folks.
Don't jinx it.
Where,
Yeah,
where are we then?
6 Fair Street. We're at 6
Six
Fair
Fair.
Street.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
Hi, long time no see.
Well, couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
So this is 6 Fair Street, which everybody I know assume knows the house. The dilapidated house where the porch is actually falling in, the enclosed porch.
Sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
Wow.
Sorry, Lisa.
That's okay. Do you need to finish that?
No.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so my client has bought the property and he is obviously hoping to bring it into livable shape. And we have proposed a couple of changes to the exterior. But the hope is, or the desire is to pretty much keep all the detailing the way it is, but just to expand the footprint where we can expand the footprint, which is very little, and add some dormers. And we actually expanded the length of the building and re-added the porch to the front so that they could get some more second floor space. Because there's really no place for them to add, if you look at the site plan. So we've taken the porch, which is, as you can tell by the pictures, that part is, I think, condemnable. The floor is caving in, and we've actually are proposing to put a new foundation under the whole building, keeping the height the way it is, keeping the location the way it is, and add a second floor over what used to be the single story porch, and re-add the porch to the Fair Street side that would be open. And in the back, we are adding a roof to an existing deck. Maybe changing the dimensions of the deck slightly.
Does this show where the original house? Is that a dotted line where the original? house
Let
was?
me look at that plan. Original house, yeah, the red
Yeah,
line is the
red line
original.
is- Okay, so you're just.
Yeah,
adding
so
the,
we're again
the
adding
porch.
expanding the second floor and then re-adding a porch onto the Fair Street side. That'll be open, no longer enclosed space. Right now, it's enclosed as a sunroom.
The
Thank you.
gable's coming forward, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And, oh, let you do. No.
Yeah, I would think I'm finished.
Thank you, Lisa.
Mhm.
So for the record, we have a actual new Form B, because this is in our fish lots that was completed with our last survey work. So this is a circa 1930 to 1934 bungalow. It's the Francis Edward and Lizzie Hillard Chadwick Folger house. Mouthful. But no known changes were to this house except for roof change to asphalt. First off, appreciate 100% the new owners proposing renovations to this 90-plus-year-old bungalow instead of the demo word, which I despise, obviously, because there have been that floating around with the condition that it's been and under the previous ownership. But I wanted to just emphasize the architectural description. I think it's an important of seeing really and truly that this is the proposed before you is really assisting this contributing structure. So this structure is a west-facing 1.5-story, 3-bay, symmetrical, stylistic wood frame bungalow. It has a front gable roof covered in asphalt shingles with deeply overhanged eaves and a partial gable return on the facade on the west elevation. Shed dormers are centered on the north and on the south side elevations, and a brick chimney projects from the north roof slope behind the shed dormer. The walls are clad in wood shingles and rest are a low rusticated concrete block foundation. The entry is flanked by paired windows to the north and the south. The southmost windows have been boarded over with plywood. So this has been noted in our HDC new updated survey. And fenestration throughout consists of double hung 6/1 wood sash windows set within plank frames. The house is one of the few bungalows in the Fish Lot neighborhood. This building retains its original orientation, form, massing, and fenestration pattern. Edward Folger, who this structure is attributed to, moved to Nantucket around 1900, and he worked for the Wannacomet Water Company and the Island Service Company before becoming appointed as acting clerk of courts for Nantucket in 1929. So the facade has always been a centered door flanked by ganged windows, 6/1s, and I don't believe the 2/1s are appropriate. It loses that character defining feature. The front hip roof porch is appropriate. It should be the same as existing with that second floor double windowsill on top of the porch, if at all possible. I do notate that the porch, the pitch is the same, which is great. So that porch is an appropriate addition to a bungalow. The rear east with the proposed second floor deck will be visible from Orange Street, and you can actually see that from Google Street View. So I just wanted to point that out to the commission. So I don't believe that the deck and the French doors are appropriate. The new door should be, with any of the French doors, should be a 12 light with a kick panel as consistent that the commission usually approves. The north gable was appropriate as is. Believe that that elevation with the 3, it's very overwhelming, although I will note that this elevation is obliquely visible. I'd noticed it, and I know the condition of this building is probably not fun, but I noticed that with this package, there was no existing floor plans. I did see the proposed, but I do think existing, if at all possible, would be helpful, specifically with that existing bump out on the south, where it's symmetrical, and now the new one is asymmetrical. Just a thought to bring that up. The windows, I think, should keep as the architectural survey indicates that they're plank frames with the 6/1s. I think they should stay ganged as they exist. Overall, appreciate the new dormers proposed with the existing and historically appropriate 512 roof pitch, and the front stoop and door placement should match. So overall, I'm very happy to see this structure come back alive. Just for those notated comments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Holly.
Can I just ask who my board is?
Yeah, I think I was just about to establish that.
Okay, thank you.
Val, Diane, I guess it's Joe or.
And Carrie, right?
And Carrie?
I don't know. Well, I don't know.
I'm here.
Oh, good. That would be your board.
Okay. Just
And-
wanted to write it down. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I did forget one other thing is that I don't know what the condition of the windows are, but since they're being proposed to be removed, typically we ask for a window survey. Sorry for it.
Okay, Mickey.
Yes, so our suggestion was to add a balustered front porch railing across the front. I think it looks a little stark without a railing at all. I think in town, you'd almost expect to see that. Our other thoughts were to keep the 6/1 windows. Holly mentioned that also. I think it feels more appropriate on this building. And another idea was to the front porch. If you could just zoom in on the front of the building existing versus proposed. Because the porch is now less than it was originally, it's not quite as wide. The piece that intersects the house right below the windows above is narrower. And to me, that looks a little odd. It's a 3.5 pitch as it's described there. If you were to bump the pitch up just a little bit, and I know you can't really do it on the front, you just have to do it on the sides, which I don't think would be terribly noticeable. But then you could spread that section of the roof out to match the windows. I think that would look a little better. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mickey. Board members. Anybody ready?
I am.
Oh, go ahead, Carrie.
Go ahead, Carrie.
I agree with Mickey's comments about a railing on the porch. For me, if the opening were centered as it is, then the door could probably stay shifted to the left and you would still have some sort of center focus. Because previously I was going to agree with Holly that the door should be centered, but I think the railing and the center entry to the porch would do that for me. I agree with the 6/1 windows. And I also agree with the detail of the porch fitting underneath those double windows there. I don't think it's going to be very visible, but I also feel like because this little building is so symmetrical in so many ways, that piece on the south elevation that carries down from the dormer, it's sort of a significant element in the original house. In the existing south, that piece that carries straight down, that's such a significant element in my mind that I would love to see that back in place. But as I said, I don't think it's going to be very visible, so maybe just treating it the same way would be weird. That's it. I really appreciate that this building is going to get help. I think the addition coming forward is fine. The house is representing its own self very well. That's all.
Thank you, Carrie. Joe, did you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I looked at this before the meeting, I was hoping I would end up on it because I was always wondering what was happening with this building. And I'm happy to see that it's being more or less restored in a way. I have no issues with any of the dormers. And the window style, I actually like, I think the 2/1s you'd see in a lot of bungalows, although hearing Holly's narrative about how nothing has changed, and therefore the 6/1s, if they were to turn back to 6/1s, that makes a lot of sense to me. The only thing that stuck out, two things. One was that bay that Carrie mentioned, which I thought, I see it's gotten a little bit deeper. I think you could actually continue the main gable roof down and just have it intersect that, and then it would join those things together, similar to what they had before. Before it just went up underneath the overhanging eave, and they probably pushed it out and stuck it up underneath there. But now that you've pushed it out further, I think the roof could come down and meet it. Although previously it worked really well with the 3rd floor dormer. So maybe
With the second floor dormer.
Yeah, sorry, the 2nd floor dormer. Now that it's not centered, I'm not quite sure if that roof coming down would look good, but the little hip bothers me. And then the front, I think my first thought was half walls that wrapped around and absorbed the columns and centered that stair so that you really strengthened the center, and wondering whether or not you should have 4 posts instead of 2, but then it might look really busy. So I guess I would be in favor of the railing suggestion that Mickey had, and that Carrie was supportive of. I don't have any other comments. I think it's great that you've got the raftered tails on the dormers, and the 2nd floor deck. I think it might be visible from Orange Street, but it's going to be a screened view, so I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you, Joe.
I'll go if you want.
I'd love that.
I think it should keep the 6/1s. I think that the other suggestions that were made by Mickey and Holly were good. I think on the proposed west elevation, I'm just not sure that I don't know whether that up in the gable, 1 window would better, or the 2. It seems like a lot makes the 2nd floor sort of heavy. And it's just, I don't know whether I'd have to listen to somebody else. And the other thing I had concerns with, again, if it's properly done, I don't know. This is existing house, why it shouldn't be seen from Orange Street. I think sometimes we take a lot of concern about being seen somewhere else, but it's a good. Oh. Is that what you'd see? That's what I could. Yeah. Is the French doors. There's so much other stuff around, all sticking with the sort of the era of the building, that I don't think the French doors with that deck and everything is, I don't think it's fits in, just my idea. And it's at east elevation. So it's facing down Main Street
Hmm.
towards the Straight Wharf. And I don't think it would probably be seen from that way because there's so many other bigger buildings around it. It's just that I don't particularly think it's good. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Val.
I agree with a lot of what's been said with the railing and all that. The only, maybe the east side on the second floor could reduce to one door and have the door look like the one on the existing, one of the photos. It's a 12 light with a kick panel that, which would be better with the 6/1. And the same, for any of the doors with a lot of glass. And my only other concern was the front door. What's the front door gonna be?
It's a 4 light. But it
No,
could-
I know, but if you change the windows to 6.
Oh, well, it could go back to the door that you're describing, the 12 over panel. That,
And it can, is that, what was it in any of the old pictures of it? I know right now it's plywood, but I don't know that that's appropriate as a front door on Fair Street, the 12/1. The 12 over. You know what I'm trying to say.
yes, I
the
know what
kick
you're
panel.
trying to say.
So, just, what's the door gonna be, but I love it.
I mean, the only
I
other
think
thing.
it's so exciting.
Oh,
I do
sorry.
too.
Through you, Madam Chair. I mean, the other thing that we could do would be to do more like a, depending on what the windows do, you could do a 6-light sash that's a little bit higher up.
Yeah, like a craftsman style,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And just to Diane's comment about the 2 windows facing west, I think Mickey's solution was better to change the pitch of the roof because the 2 windows exist.
Yeah,
We're just essentially keeping them in the same location.
yeah, so just a little nod.
Yeah.
Save the daffodils.
Thank you.
So,
Val.
motion to hold for minor?
I
Oh,
gotta
sorry, you
put in
didn't go.
Just, I'm happy with the 6 over, keeping the 6/1s. I also, I appreciate all the details that you've kept, like the rafter tails, and I have no problem with the way the dormers are. I think it's charming. I think, on that east end, I would do, I would keep 2 windows there and I would shingle in that balustrade instead of having spindles. And I think it would appear as,
2-window.
6/1 windows.
Mhm.
You could get away with that. And
Okay.
then, I think on the front, I kind of like Joe's idea of pulling another, shingle rail across. And making that more of a bungalow style. It sounds like
Can I ask a question just to that point
yeah.
through you? What would you think of just 3 columns with the stairs shifted in front of the door?
Wait, say that again?
You shift the stairs to in front of the door and then you only have 3 columns, one on either side and one mirroring the column to the left of the door. Gets rid of the idea of the center entrance, but
Yeah, that's the only.
I think some sort of railing should be there.
right, I agree with that. It's just a
Yeah.
question of,
Yeah, fool around with it. I think,
Okay.
I think you got it.
we can do some
Um,
different options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I hear a motion? To hold
That was the
first few
motion.
revisions? Thank you, Diane. On Diane's motion.
Aye.
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 And Miss Carrie,
Aye.
yeah. Good. Thank you.
Love, love, love.
Yeah, thank you for saving.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Time to hurry.
Color change.
Yeah, color change.
Oh, yeah, what was the color of that last, what's the color on
Oh,
that?
yeah, we didn't even ask that.
White. I mean, it is white.
It is
now.
white now? Okay.
Black sash.
Is that what we
What?
wrote? No, we didn't write black sash, did we? No.
No,
No.
So funny.
Love you, Joe.
Some levity is always helpful during a meeting.
Sure, we need it. We need it.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the color change for 8 Wallbang. When we came through the last time we had requested white paint, and I know Val, at that time you were working on the house next door and you suggested that that was going to go to gray. So this should go to gray, but my understanding now is it's on the
Sounds
market
like-
for 18 million and it's staying white. So, you know, we took some pictures from further away that show that there were a bunch of white houses sort of in a cluster there. The platinum gray, which is what we suggested they use, just is reading very dark
Yeah.
and sort of out of character in a way to the landscape. And I don't know if all the picture, oh yeah, they're there. Great.
I take back my initial thought about that. Cisco is white.
Yeah.
Oh, Holly, do you remark on this one?
Really, but I do remember this from the conversation.
So, board members, what do you think of the color?
They're asking for white, right?
Over
I
over the
go
gray.
with white.
Yeah.
This,
This building looks sad. I
Yeah,
think it needs
the color is.
All righty, then we don't want sad.
It was the skillful photography, I think, of this cloudy day that you took the photos.
I didn't, well, I'm not going to take credit for those.
Connie, what do you think?
I like white.
Val,
Yep. Good.
Diane?
White.
Okay, somebody make a motion?
I make a motion to use white.
Okay, all in favor of Diane's motion to change it to white?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
That passes.
Thanks, Lisa.
Is that platinum gray?
That's platinum.
I don't think.
I always thought it was a lot lighter, but
I did too, but maybe the shingles are so white, it's.
You want to hear a funny story? So our office is platinum gray, right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I like.
Okay, so that building, the owner comes up and says, this isn't platinum gray, because they looked at our office and said, we really love this color, we're gonna do platinum gray. And he actually took a sample from the job site, brought it down to the office and held it up, and it's the same color. But this one looks, for some reason, it's like out there in all the sun or something like that. It
Yeah.
looks dark.
Yeah.
I can't, it's just a different looking color, but it's platinum gray. Definitely.
So we want to put the house back to this way. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so here we are at 25 East Lincoln. Reduce porch size. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes,
here?
so if you go to that elevation right there. So after you approved it, it was at the Conservation Commission meeting, and they want that porch. See, on the top is approved, and they want it reduced to that side to get it out of the 25-foot wetland.
This was on my thing to review, but I was traveling and so I didn't review them. I would have put it on consent.
It's their order of conditions.
If Concom wants them to reduce it, then I guess we should, shouldn't we?
Well, okay, before we get ahead of our
Too.
skis, before we get ahead of the skis. So it's that's it,
That's
right?
it.
That's all you're requesting. Okay, no, so let's hear from Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as this structure exists, we have a draft Form B for this 1949 and 1950 cottage, the Austin F. and Elizabeth Trier house. It had additions noted in 1971 and 1985. And this obviously is to reduce the size of the covered porch due to Concom. Understand the reason to change the size of the covered porch. It's actually leaving the exterior chimney oddly positioned, I think, in an odd way. Obviously, I do notate that the existing structure as is has an odd, as a lot of the commissioners have mentioned, character defining feature of that front chimney. And one, I don't remember what the commission had approved for the chimney itself, but it's just it's out there now, where it was seen a little more subdued on that small gable addition part of the porch. So I'm not too sure how that could change. And I was also curious on what the color of the brick was.
Natural.
Natural.
Okay,
That was my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Holly, thank you. Mickey,
We had no concerns.
okay. All right, guys, let's see, identify the board. Connie, you want to sit on this one? All right, comments. Don't be shy, come on,
I think we should paint it white.
the brick, the brick.
Ties it, it doesn't look anything like the house that's there. That would be the thing that would.
You could paint it white.
Did you say you could?
What?
Well, there's whitewash on the current. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
Down with that.
it helps Holly's idea of standing out more.
Because it's such a wicked
Is the
weird.
trim white?
Matt, yeah. Wood roof.
Yeah.
you want to go next, Abby?
I'll say yes to white.
Yes to white. Okay. Thank you. Diane, you ready?
Yep, I say yes to white too.
Okay, Connie?
Yes to white too.
Sounds like we got a yes to white. The only thing that I will say is it's odd because the footprint is not changing at all, right? The steps are the same size. And I mean, I guess they're talking about runoff or something. You catch the runoff in rain gutters, right?
The whole house has gutters and the original approval of steps are inside the porch, hidden.
Yes.
Right.
And this one, they just want the roof.
Yeah,
So,
because I actually think that the roof did a lot to,
I agreed.
take the curse, if you will, off the verticality of this very large masonry chimney, but there it is.
Well,
So sounds like we're gonna be able to approve this as a white chimney.
So I make a motion to approve as submitted white chimney.
Okay, that's through staff. That is Diane's motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye, any opposed? Great. Now,
Sweet.
yes. That was Connie, plus the rest of us. All right, 2 Cabot Lane.
Okay, so this is a property that's been kind of turned into a condo. And it's up there near Lincoln Circle. There's a house 4 Cabot Lane that was broken off and there's a current construction happening there. So this is the cottage in the back and the house that this goes with on the same property, number 2, is a Victorian house. So this one is currently up top is the existing building that's there and it's all in the setback. So what we're doing, it's actually been renovated and the inside's in really good shape. Concrete block foundation. So if you go to the site plan, right now it's like a hotel room. So if you go to the site plan, you can see what we're doing. So we're trying to, within the footprint of the setbacks, add an addition instead of tearing the whole thing down and building a new house. And in the process, the current building would have a partial foundation. So is the portion that's all in the setbacks. There's like just a crawl space. And then the center section would have a full basement. And this is part of the big building below that says existing building, which is a Victorian style house, and we're matching it as best as possible without having the roof overhangs go into all the setbacks. Because you can see it's in the setbacks.
And it's got wood roof. Colors to match the other building, white. It's white currently. And the windows in it are mixed. So we're going with the 2/2s matching the front house. And it's 22 feet high.
Okay. Thank you, Ethan. Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So 2 Cabot Lane was subdivided with a 4181L a couple of years ago. There is now the 4 Cabot Lane, which you all approved. A basement under different ownership. And then what's residual is the 1888 Victorian, the Harriet Swain house, and along with this back cottage. This was the former deacon Susan Phillips from St. Paul's Church, who owned this property, and she had the 4 Cabot Lane and 2 Cabot Lane, this one in the back, as cottages. So for seasonal, for people to rent. This structure here is approximately from 1971, showing up in the 1973 taxes as the rear cottage for taxation. Putting a basement under makes sense, but not a 2-story addition. There's currently a loft in this 1-story dwelling. The cottage is associated with the 1888 Harriet Swain Victorian house in the front of the lot, historically with 2/2 windows. However, changing this cottage to match, I don't believe is appropriate, as it should stay 6/6, as it has been historically. The addition is odd with that 2nd-story balcony and dormers. I think because of the nature of where this structure is located on the lot, and it's adjacent to other structures, that it would be nice, although I do appreciate it's a lower elevation, that maybe a streetscape is needed to see how the 2 stories fit in. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that anecdotally, my father was the previous caretaker since of this entire property for the Phillips from 1998 to 2021. So I know these structures very intimately. Not mentioning that, I'm just mentioning from the fact that, there is some history to these properties from both a seasonal and residential perspective. And there's a reason why that these structures were retained as 6/6. I think they should. And that way, even though it's been subdivided and this is a condo, which I don't particularly care for under zoning, but anyway, it's allowed, that it should still retain that cottage feel, even though it's under separate ownership. So those are my comments, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. How about you, Mickey?
Yep, we looked at this one. So, it's kind of an awkward addition on this 1-story thing, but it's, I think mostly going to be obscured by the house in front of it. The part that you will see is looking at the east elevation, it's the section to the 2-story section and the porch to the left of that. One, not this view, but the other view. So there you go. The porch extends out too far. It's sort of awkwardly extending out too far. I think that should be reduced a few feet back to make it, the scale of it fit more proportionally in with the building. We might also suggest that instead of a shed porch roof, that make that a hipped porch roof. And that way you'll get an eave line facing the street, which will be a little bit lower, and I think it'll eliminate that awkward triangular addition to the main front wall. And we also like the notion of keeping the 6/6 windows just to kind of retain some of its original charm. So that's it. Thank you.
Mickey, thank you. Did I establish a board on this? I forget.
No.
Is it to you, Joe? Connie was on the last one.
Oh, okay.
Carrie didn't get. Carrie might be drinking beer now.
Carrie, are you drinking beer now?
Yep.
I don't drink beer. No, I'm here, not drinking.
Okay, well, look, it's the last one, so why don't you sit on this one?
Okay,
How about
thanks.
that?
I could go.
Yeah, go.
I think the design here is awkward and sort of is going away from that original simple shed. I think the jump from shed to two-story is too grand. I think what's especially awkward is the two-story on that far left with that jutting out porch. I don't know how to fix it. But they're not, the two massings aren't relating to one another. So I'd like to somehow see that.
Like a lot of houses around here, sure.
Yeah. He threw a cynical thing in.
What did you say?
I said there's a lot of goofy houses around here that don't match itself.
Yeah, but here's an opportunity to make it go with.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Who's next?
I'll go.
Thank you.
I think that the building should not become a two-story or a story and a half building. I think it should stay the same height. It should have 6/6 windows. It should remain tucked in the back. Two Cabot Lane is a funny piece of property that 5 goes around the corner. It's a funny little section of Cabot Lane right there. And I think that the small house is more in keeping with fitting in the area. If you had to go lift it in some place, I'd like to see the thing of going a story and a half. But I don't mind, I don't see any additions onto it as a one-story. Except the one with the flaming roof, sort of ski roof. But I think it's important for this area. There are enough buildings on Two Cabot Lane as it is to keep it as simple as possible. So that would be, any addition I think should be kept hopefully at one story. So that's what I think.
Thank you, Diane. Val, you ready?
You know, for me, it's really just the porch section that's throwing me off, because if you take that away, and I'm not suggesting you take it away, it looks like a lot of old houses, especially if they stayed with 6/6, you know, that would have a funky little 1.5 addition and then a 1-story addition on the side. So it's really just that deck, if that's integrated a little bit differently. But Ethan, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there a building in front of this?
No.
There is, and I have a photograph from the street. I think that's in the file.
Is that true? Because I look,
It's one story, the one that you all approved, and they segmented. Basically, they're putting it back. They put a foundation, and then put the walls back, put it back.
can I ask then, why does the site plan not show anything there?
Because it's a different lot and I didn't want to confuse, it's not part of this.
Well, but it shows the existing building here.
No, that's the neighbors, that's another building that is
Well,
the
I
property
know.
line.
Yeah.
Because I don't have there's no building there now, it's a whole.
You're saying there's a building right here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have that. I don't have access
Okay,
to that
well, it'd be
spot.
helpful because Mickey mentioned something about the building in front blocking it, but
It's scroll down
I
to the
don't see
photos,
it.
you'll, the photos.
There's a
Not that,
driveway.
there's Another photo.
I thought that was.
That's it. So that fence there is where the other building's being built. And that roof in the back is where mine is. No,
Okay,
not that
all
one,
right,
that one.
yeah. All right, got it.
That fence an allowed fence, or is that just?
No, that's just construction fence.
Okay,
They're doing work behind
Yeah.
that.
There's a
Yeah.
hole there.
But so the addition to this little building will be seen when that fence is taken down.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Plus, you're gonna see between the two property lines.
You'll
you
just
know,
see-
right smack to this building.
you'll look right down at the porch.
Yeah.
So this is the house in question. This is the small house that you all approved for cabin. This is a whole different property now.
Right.
One story. So right now, all those walls are gone and it's a full. Yeah.
Right here.
So you're still gonna see that, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can we see those?
There will definitely be a window, a fairly large window between the Victorian house, the new piece that's being built now.
The hard
and-
piece of property.
Yeah.
Funny.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we're, that was you, Val?
Yeah, I mean, he's got some encumbrances. They're right on the property line, so. I don't know. I think for me, it's really just the porch.
Okay.
Overwhelming. The structure, and I don't think it has to look like the house that it used to be part of, because it's no longer part of it. The Victorian.
Okay.
Can you go back to the elevations? Thank you.
And it'd be good, I think, to keep the 606 windows.
Yeah. Got that.
So could
Can I
we-
go?
Well, hang on. Harry, go ahead.
Thanks. I agree completely with Val. I think the porch gone makes it look like a funny little railway cottage. And I don't know if there was such a thing on Nantucket, but I think part of the funky proportion that the taller mass is shorter than the longer lower mass. And I just wonder if you got rid of the porch and just extended the second floor a little bit more over, maybe even just towards where that electric panel is,
Ground cover.
and sort of proportion the location of the dormers and, windows down below. That might help just to sort of normalize it. But I personally kind of think it's funky as it is, but no porch, because the porch just seems like a large house element. It seems like it's really overwhelming this cute little bunko building. And 6/6 windows as well.
Okay. Is that it, Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay, Ethan, I got a question for you.
Yep.
This is one of those cases where the taller mass is also the narrower mass. And it never really works well. And so I know that this would require you going to get a special permit at the ZBA, but why don't you build on top of, I believe Holly told us that the shed that's there now was built in 1971. Why don't you build on top of that? No ground coverage issue there. You're just building up. You'd have a wider volume to be able to put a roof over so that the proportions would be better. And that piece would be literally behind the piece that Holly was showing us that's in the front. And what we're going to see in the window between the two buildings would be a lower, single story or story and a half element that was subordinate in width and in height to the larger element.
Oh, I agree 100%.
I know it means going to the ZBA special permit, right? Because you're.
Yeah, no, we just did.
Increasing a non-conformity.
Right, we just did this as the easiest. It's just an addition to an existing building. We went this route first. The original idea was to, let's just put a second floor on the original building, just do the second
Well,
story addition on that and one story. in the front.
I might be ruffling some feathers, but I think given the fact that it was 1971, right?
Yeah.
Holly, is what you said. So I think that in terms of like the success of the design, if that was a 150-year-old garage, I'd have a very different view, but 1971, go up. You don't have to go up as high to get as much space on the second floor. And the proportions are better because
agree.
the width is corresponding to the height.
in both cases. Anyway, that's.
Yeah.
And then you can, get your proportions right.
Agreed.
Yeah, and then it's like major volume goes down to smaller volume rather than, narrow, tall volume goes to wider, squat volume,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, we went this route first to get basically your feedback without disturbing the original building, but now I'm like,
Yeah, which I appreciate.
Okay.
I get it, but I think in the big picture, this might
agreed.
be worth looking
I
at.
agree.
Should we hope for some revision?
Yeah, okay, so,
That's my thing.
all right, so, Abby did make, yeah, Abby.
Build the whole house.
New house. All right, cool.
Abby has just made a motion for some very substantial revisions. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Do we have any minutes?
I think we do. Actually, we do not.
Didn't read them yet.
Oh, okay, all right, because we had some that went out
Let's
for our
hold them.
review.
I said, let's hold them another.
Oh, well,
them
yeah,
at
there's like nothing
Tuesday.
to hold because we're nothing to approve just yet.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I may, I just wanted to, I know you and Stephen have been communicating with me via email regarding this special meeting between Concom and the HDC. I just wanted to mention to the commission now that next Monday at 4:00, I'll have a posting. I'll send it out to you and also as a reminder, but we're going to have a Zoom only meeting between the two commissions. This is no public comment. It's obviously for a public hearing, but this is to go over some proposals that the Parks and Rec Department has with their consultant, Weston and Sampson, about proposals looking at Jetty's Beach Pavilion, the Peabody and Stearns 1904 pavilion that's there, as well as the Children's Beach concession stand. Both of them are contributing resources toward the local and national district, and they want to have both the regulatory boards have a overview before this goes to the select board for their comments.
Monday the 13th at 4.
This is looking at it from a coastal resiliency perspective and resilient Nantucket, based on the approved Parks and Rec plan. So
if I'm not mistaken, it's at the request of Parks and Rec to make sure that Concom and HCC are kind of on the same page.
correct.
And that we're not working at odds with
Correct.
each other. One person saying do this and the other person saying, no, you can't do that.
And at the end of the day, this is to go above and beyond because you all are the regulatory bodies of what staff has been doing with the consultants. It's we've been fleshing a lot of different things out internally. It's now needs your eyes. So
So 4:00 Monday.
4
Zoom-
o'clock
Zoom
Monday.
Only.
yes,
Okay, that's great.
thank you.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I think it would be beneficial for everybody, anybody who can attend.
I don't think. We're not voting.
Correct. There'll be
anything.
no
We're
vote
just having a
taken.
discussion.
Correct. This
So I
is
think
the,
that the more people that can opine, the better.
this will be up for the consultants to basically show their presentation, what they're looking at from all the different regulatory requirements, and they want your feedback. That's pretty much what it is.
Yep, so I would say open to all.
Thank you.
All right, John, can we have a motion to, thank you, John. All those in favor of John's motion to adjourn, say aye. Aye. Any objection?